Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the November 18th, 2022 Ware Board of Selectmen meeting. The board convened at 6:31 p.m. and we had two non-public sessions. The first was an interview for the minute taker position, and the second was to continue discussions with Chief Rourke on a fire personnel issue. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'm open it up to public comment. Okay. Oh,
I didn't want to be first.
we twisted your arm. We twisted your arm.
Yeah. Richard Butt, good evening.
Good evening.
I have a question and maybe a concern about the direction that the water filtration system being proposed for the safety complex. It appears that it's a health issue. The amount of arsenic in the water is twice the maximum recommended by EPA. And my concern is the direction it's moving. It seems like it was being proposed as a separate article in the warrant for next year. And to me, it's a building maintenance issue. And we do have a fund called the Government Building and Maintenance Fund, which really is intended and purposed for things like this. There's enough money in that fund now to cover the cost of the water filtration system. The last time I looked at was $29,000. When it was proposed to, might be $29,900. When it proposed to the CIP, it was $35,500. It may have been because there was just one quote at that time. But anyway, it looks like the price is $30,000. Again, you have enough money in the capital reserve fund to cover the cost. Where it is a health issue, I would ask the board to consider doing that because you can do it now. It just requires board approval. If you're not going to do that, then I know you're going to have close to $400,000 surplus at the end of the year that you could use some of that money to cover that cost. And the reason why you can use that money is because he has a line item in the budget, police department, for building maintenance. This is a building maintenance issue. So you can move money into that line in the budget to cover the cost. Thirdly, if you're going to wait till the vote in March, I would not recommend that be placed on the warrant by itself. It should be incorporated into a request to put money into the Government Building and Maintenance Fund. And that's what the purpose of the fund is for. And it serves two purposes, really. One is that if it's underestimated and the cost comes in a little high for unknown reasons, there'll be enough money in that fund to cover that cost. And if it comes in under, then that money can stay in the capital reserve fund and be used for other things. So I wish the board would consider doing it now, using the existing Government Building and Maintenance Fund. But I would not recommend it be placed on the warrant as a separate article. It is a building maintenance issue. And I've never seen an article on the warrant for building maintenance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else for a public comment?
Tom Clow, 125 Concord Stage Road. Just to follow up on what Dick was saying, the other issue, if it goes on the warrant and it's voted down, then you get to the no means no, and you can't spend money elsewhere to do it. So I think that's another point to consider. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Before proceeding with the agenda, I'd like to thank the town moderator, the town clerk's office, all the election officials, and the Myra volunteers who helped with our election week before last. And I thank all the voters for turning out in what I assume are record numbers and for being patient with the lines, and for the police department for helping with traffic control and all kinds of great stuff. So it was definitely a village effort, so thank you all. Okay, I think that brings us to department head committee items, and we have Library Director Clay Creasy here to give us an update on the library's fundraising campaign. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Yep, thank you. I'm here with Josh Hilliard. He's a library
Josh.
trustee. Yes. And I'm going to let him do most of the talking.
Oh, that's even better. I mean, as far as, you get to take all the glory and he gets to do all the talking. Thank you.
Joshua Hilliard, Woodbury Road, one of the library trustees. Wanted to give you a quick update on the library's fundraising efforts and sort of where things are headed. First, just wanted to thank you all for your support of the library. I know some of those ARPA funds were used for some of the shelving that the library needed, so wanted to thank you all for that. I want to also thank, as we've been working towards this fundraising effort for the library in order to better its services and the area we actually have some donors who have already given some money. Some of them have been anonymous, but I just want to give a shout out and a thanks to all those who have already provided some private funding for the library.
Right, yeah, I want to, that was, especially there was an item, it was called Restoring the Classics. It was funds to either to replace a lot of our old classics books that were worn and torn. And it was like about $800 that was donated by an anonymous donor. So I appreciate that very much to that anonymous donor. Yep.
So I believe you have an early draft of the annual campaign that we provided some time ago. That's still a work in progress that we're working with, of course, Clay, as well as the library staff and involved townspersons and the trustees to continue to iterate on that document. One of the things we've worked on actually is there was quite a bit of interest in trying to improve some of the outdoor space around the library for functions and particularly the summertime activities for the children. So the trustees have retained a woman who's a landscape architect to come and provide some suggestions and proposals. She actually works with a lot of nonprofits. Her name is Suzanne Smith-Meyer. So we'll be meeting with her later this week to discuss proposals to improve, like I said, the outdoor space around the library. The library's also met with Terry Knowles, who I imagine most of you know, who used to work at the Charitable Trust Unit at the AG's office. She's provided some invaluable advice to kind of right the ship and have us heading in the right direction towards working with this fundraising campaign. One of the things she pointed out to us that I wanted to make you all aware of as we're coming up to the budget season is as we work on this annual campaign, one of the things that Terry Knowles has made sure we're aware of is the library is required to, when we submit our budget, to include all anticipated funds from whatever source. So that's going to include any private funds we hope to raise over this next budget cycle. So when you have our budget beginning of December, you'll see some things that haven't been in there in the past, and those are going to include things that we hope to raise money for and the accounting for how we hope to raise money through our annual campaign. Critically, that will have no tax impact, but it should be included in our budget. So you will see that this next cycle, so I just wanted to make you all aware of it.
Thank you for the heads up.
Yep. And happy to answer any questions. Just wanted to give you that quick update.
What do you have? No? Okay. So it sounds like it's pretty much status quo from where you were before, as far as, no changes to the campaign itself. Is that correct?
No significant changes. One of the things that Terry Knowles had spoken to us about is the ideal items to include on a campaign. And one of the things that I think the trustees we had overlooked is that there can be quite a bit of interest in physical things in the library, like windows or doors or things that people can see and say, hey, I gave money for that. So that's one of the things the trustees is exploring and talked to Terry about, and is looking to potentially modify that document. It's by no means in a final shape. We have any sort of kickoff. What I expect is there will be some behind-the-scenes fundraising before we kind of kick it off publicly, because the idea is we want to have a good head start in the fundraising before we reach out to individual small donors. So we're still in that process, but the expectation is early this next year, we'd be in that phase of starting to gather donations and work towards publicizing it and trying to meet those goals, which we expect to be relatively modest this first year, as this is a new thing the library will be doing.
Okay. Good. Well, we appreciate all you guys are doing. I know you've had a record year and look forward to more growth.
Yeah. All right,
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming in. Okay, I think that brings us to Chief Moore. You have a couple things for us? Whole stack.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting into it all. First off is Unit 2. Just a slight update. Unit 3, which is our oldest Dodge, is giving us transmission issues. We contacted DPW. DPW said send it to Mark Phillips. It's not dead yet, but we're just going to have it evaluated on Wednesday. If that dies, we have no plans to fix that. That's the next car. It's replaced anyway. But that does bring us to Unit 2, because we can't have two cars now. We did come up with a way to fix Unit 2 by designating it as a primary detail car. This year, we had earned, this was back on November 7th, $17,322 through cruiser fees. $2,000 of that was previously returned to the taxpayer. $10,000 was previously approved by the board to offset the cruiser in the next warrant article, which gives a balance of $5,322. The estimate to have Unit 2 repaired was $4,784 and $4,784.40. So if the board approves the use of that fund, we will have Unit 2 repaired and designated primarily as a detail car.
How much is it again?
The repair, yep, sorry. The repair was estimated by Mark Phillips at $4,784.40.
Okay. And as far as redesignating that, and I know it's just an internal designation, is that correct?
Yeah, so it was a command vehicle anyway. It wasn't a patrol frontline vehicle. So designated as a detail car, it's not going to be that big of a difference for us. We found out that the work that the utility companies have been doing is going to go through next year, so we're going to be busy with details throughout next year. It's not like the car is going to sit. It'll be used pretty much 5 days a week on details. It'll be the first car out. So it'll be making money to offset another car down the line, so.
Okay. And the change in details is more than you had anticipated just a
Yes.
few months ago, correct?
Yes, the utility companies were replacing power wires. We found out they're also going to be, after they complete the power wires, they're going to do the telephone wires, and then they're going to do the poles. So this is like a long-term effort that they're going to be doing, where because the crews went down to Florida, they got set back, so they actually wanted 3 cars a day. So it's not only our guys, but Dunbarton are heavily involved in the details too. Usually we have 2 guys who are off duty. Nobody takes leave to go work the details. On their days off, they come in and work those, usually 8-hour shifts, or they split 2 4-hour shifts.
Okay.
So,
Any further questions for Chief on vehicle number 2 transmission repair? Okay. I'll accept a motion to authorize repair of transmission on vehicle number 2. It's noted that vehicle number 2 will be redesignated internally, post-repair as primarily a detail vehicle. And I believe we have to authorize you as well, Chief Moore, to sign the repair documents on behalf of Town Aware. This would be with Mark Phillips Automotive, quote number 041112, in the amount of $4,784.40, with that amount coming from the police detail fund. Would anyone like to move that?
I'll move that.
Thank you, Selectman Pratt. Any second?
Second.
Thank you, Selectman Drury. Any further discussion? All in favor, say yes or yay. Yes?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Motion passes 4-0-0.
second item is Unit 6. This is the vehicle that was involved in a crash when a citizen turned in front of the car while it was operating with emergency lights. The repair estimate is $16,234.77. We do have an authorization we need to sign to have the vehicle repaired. It is going to be covered minus $1,000 deductible by Primex. Here's a copy of the authorization, but I just need the board to authorize myself to be able to sign it to have the cruiser repaired.
Okay. And where does the $1,000 come from? Anybody? Where does the $1,000 deductible come from? Okay.
Which is over, but, yeah.
And I'm assuming we have to pay Mark Phillips and then get reimbursed from Primex, or Primex pays directly, do you know?
It was either or, and we chose to have the check sent to the town.
Okay.
But it's Bank,
Banks,
it's Bank
yes,
Chevrolet on unit 6,
yes.
not Mark Phillips. Mark Phillips is on unit 2. Bank Chevrolet is on unit 6.
Sorry, thanks.
It's okay.
I missed that. Thank you.
No. Okay. So the check is coming to the town?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. So we have to authorize the whole amount then?
Well, it's
And
more just
accept
to
the-
have me sign the form to get it repaired.
Okay,
And they come up, because they take it apart and do other things. So the repair is what we're responsible for, and Primex is gonna work with the police department or with banks to come up with it. So if there's a supplemental repair, because when they take things apart, there'll be a supplemental check, so the amount may fluctuate.
okay,
And it will fluctuate, because like replacement decals weren't on this. We're still waiting on an invoice. We have the decals, but
okay. All right. So the motion that you're looking for is really as simple as a motion to authorize repair paperwork being signed by you for vehicle number 6 with Bank Chevrolet?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anyone like to second that?
I'll second it.
All right, discussion?
Yeah, then when we do get those funds, so the check is gonna be cut to the town. It's not a direct pay to banks.
Correct. Nothing
Okay.
direct to
So
banks.
do we gotta make a motion when that comes in to accept that?
I believe we would, yeah.
Okay, it was just questioning.
And to pay the deductible,
Okay.
yeah. No? Anything else? All in favor, say yes or yay? Yes?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Motion passes 500.
The next item is the contractual lease agreement with Goffstown
Thank you.
Police Department. It's a 3-year agreement. It was, I do have extra copies if anybody wants one. The contract did go up fairly significantly. And I don't have the exact number, but I know it was about $10,000. The increase was for a 3% contractual increase that they pay salaries for the dispatchers. IT costs are what increased substantially. Goffstown just spent right around $100,000 on the new server, which was needed for the record system that both police departments use. Microsoft cost increased, and they have a data center refresh plan in 2026. Now, what that does, I have no clue, but that's what they justified the expenditures go. Even though this is a substantial increase, the actual cost of the contract would be less than what we would pay for one dispatcher, so we're getting significant value out of what we actually get for all of this. We get our entire server with IT support for not just the computer system, as well as the car systems, dispatchers who are there 24/7, even though we're not on duty 24/7. And like I said, we get a lot of product assessment where we don't have to do that. We just mirror what Goffstown does, which saves a lot of time, effort, and resources, just mirroring what they do. So my recommendation would be to approve the contract, obviously.
And so the total for the first year is 2025, and that total is $75,948.
Yes,
And that's about a $10,000 increase over what we're paying this year.
roughly. Got my email. Yeah, I thought I'd put that in my email, but I did not put that in. I did do the math, I just didn't include it for some reason. Oh, here we go. Last year, we were at 65,183. This year, the initial is 75,948. So it's a $10,765 increase.
And again, the alternative is to set up our own system and do everything in-house.
which would be hundreds of thousands of dollars between salary, equipment, and everything else. And there are no other dispatch centers that we could even look at. No one has taken personnel or other departments.
My understanding, and I don't know where I got this from, that even Goffstown's not accepting anybody new, is that
Correct.
correct?
Correct. Yeah, I got that straight from the chief.
Okay. Questions? And we all sign this, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're not looking for authorization?
Just whichever copy you would like.
Okay. All right, so I will accept a motion to sign the police dispatching contract with the town of Goffstown, also known as the Goffstown Communications Center, for a 3-year period beginning January 1, 2025. There is no reference document, it's just a signature on the page. First year amount for 2025 is $75,948, and the funding source, if you'll verify this, is police dispatch account number 345.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Would anyone like to move that? Thank you, Selectman Bloom. Anyone second? Selectman Drury, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, say yes or yay. Yes?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Motion passes 5-0-0. Okay,
All right.
sign this one?
Sorry?
Sign this one now?
Yeah, and I'll come back around to this. Next item is another contract.
Already got one. Thanks.
Anybody else want a copy? You have extras. So this is just for body worn camera licensing and storage. This is our 11th year of having body worn cameras for the department. The current agreement expires December 15th, which is why we can't wait for the full budget season in the town vote. I do have a body worn camera warrant article to get body worn cameras into my budget. However, that would just be for the equipment minus the software and the licensing fees. The cost annually is $4,224.84. And I cannot find my email. It's an increase of right around 1,700.
1738.84.
Thank you, yeah. So that price is consistent through the 5 years of this agreement, and then once we get through this agreement, they'll base it on another, whatever it's at that point. That's why it went up so much.
And the police budget line for the 2486 is what line number?
Beth, if you have that, that would be appreciated.
Is it for the
It's the one with,
licensing and storage, or?
yes, licensing storage.
That would be
259?
account 615.
And where do you recommend the 1738.84 come from?
So it's a
Does the whole thing go
contract
to that?
increase.
Does the whole thing go to that, or just the overage? Or just the whole thing? Okay. Okay. You had a question? Sorry.
No.
No? Okay.
I have one question. There's a discrepancy between the back of the first page, splits out the 5 years at 4224.84, and the front of the last page, which, oh, I know what I did. It's looking at different units there. Disregard.
That was easy.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion before we talk about a motion? Okay. I'll accept a motion to award body-worn camera licensing and media storage to Axon for a 5-year contract beginning December 2024, which would pick up after the current contract expires on 12/15/2024. Reference document is Q 618-295-45596.543JD in the amount of $4,224.84 per year, with the funding coming from the police budget account number 615. Would anyone like to move that?
Moved.
Thank you, Selectman Bloom. Anyone second?
Second?
Thank you, Selectman Drury. Any further discussion?
And authorize me to sign.
I'd like to amend that to authorize the chief to sign the contract. Chief Moore.
I'll move that.
You second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say yes or yay. Yes?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Motion passes 500. You said we're not going to get through them all.
Nope, so the last one was the tower contracts. We were hoping for insurance. We don't have insurance, so I don't think there's a point to.
Do we actually have
because
the contract reviews done through legal
Yes.
and all that? All that stuff's
Yeah,
done, so we're just waiting
everything's-
on the price, that's it?
they're on the price of the insurance.
Okay, right.
Yeah, this has definitely been the most difficult part. I think we're up to 10 rejections for insurance. Most insurance companies want to take over all of the town's insurance. Some don't want anything to do with it, but a variety of reasons why they reject us. Currently, we have 3 that we're waiting on. One's a tower company out of Texas who specializes in insurance, and they have it at 3 of them have it at their underwriters right now, so we're just waiting.
Okay.
So, yeah, we can table that till the next time.
All right. Anything else while you're here?
No, ma'am?
Yeah. You had sent us an email regarding the sale of ballistic vests. You want to just go over that briefly?
Yeah, we can, if you want.
Well, before you leave, and then we talk about it.
Sure. So, I'd reached out to our vendor, and he cited I believe it was a 2017 article where the New York Police Department had a contract to sell their expired vests, where they were to be disposed or rearranged in a purpose where they couldn't be used as vests. The company who did that is a large company who took the contract and ended up selling them online. One was used in a crime. The vests have serial numbers on them. They were able to track it back to the New York Police Department, so it was a very large scandal from what our vendor told us, and he recommended we absolutely do not do this. The difference between firearms and bulletproof vests, because that's what I was thinking of last time we do sell our firearms. Our firearms aren't expired when we sell them. These are definitely expired. The money that we got for them would just be for novelty purposes. For instance, we don't sell uniforms. When we get rid of uniforms, we take a knife and cut straight through it so nobody can use it. Because we have made an arrest within the last year of someone trying to attempt to impersonate a police officer. I believe there's a large liability to the town should we sell vests. However, the board wants us to do that. I would recommend we get an estimate from the town attorney on how much it would take to draft some type of liability contract if we sold a vest, that hopefully that wouldn't come back to the town. We can go forward either way.
Was there any estimate of what they sold their vests for?
I've never heard of anybody selling vests before. I don't have an idea. I do know someone who did repurpose vests. However, he was a police officer. He was into cosplay.
Yeah.
And he made a Batman costume that was really, really good.
I just didn't know,
Out of them.
just know if NYC, they got $20 for theirs and then turned around and had all that trouble, or if they got,
It didn't say in the article how much they sold them for, but like I've said, they're expired. There's supposed to be no value to them. Now, I will tell you, when the Ukraine war hit, they put out a mass email to all the New Hampshire departments asking for even expired helmets or vests, and they shipped them over to Ukraine because they figured something was better than nothing. So that's the only time I've ever heard of vests being reused for any type of purpose, other than just shooting them up the range. We take them and put them on dummies and shoot them with different caliber to see how they impacted.
Yeah.
We do keep them, we have a liability contract where if we have a ride-along, we keep our most recent expired vest, or if an officer left to go to a different department and they're still good, we have this for you. If you'd like to wear it, you can, but no expectation or anything. It's not fit for you. It's I can bring that contract in if anybody wants to see it.
I think Selectman Bloom, you were the one that was primarily asking the question, so
Yeah, I
is
guess,
this,
I mean, we got an email that basically covered the email you'd sent, and I hadn't made a decision on if it was something I felt was worth bringing up or not.
Okay.
So I'm still kind of in that boat.
sounds
I
good?
know you said would prefer not to.
I would be against it.
Yeah, I know it is done. To your point, you can find them for like, so the purchase price, $150. So the selling price can't be that much. So is it worth the trouble? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm thinking no, but we can
mean, I
defer
can
this
leave it alone.
discussion for later if you seriously want to bring it back up again. It's up to you. We don't have to make a decision right this second. Leave it up to you if you want to bring it up again. We have the information from the chief. We can talk about it at any time.
And
Probably won't, but yeah, I would prefer to maintain that prerogative.
Okay?
I'll throw this out there. We don't have any that are getting ready to expire. I think the next set of vests that we have that are gonna expire are probably in another year or 2 years. Mine was I just got mine replaced, but I haven't had a vest since I've been here. I actually brought my Norfolk vest, with me. They let me take it, and it was brand new when I bought it, so it's still good for 5 years, so.
That was nice of us.
Yeah, save taxpayers here a little bit of money. So.
It all adds up. Anything else on vests? Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think this brings us now to Fire Chief Rourke. We're gonna get a little information on the HMP grant. At our last meeting, which was 11/4, I know we talked about this briefly, and we said since the grant was greater than 10K, we needed a public hearing, but there was a few questions to see if we even wanted to go down that route. That's how I recall the conversation. Is that where we were at, basically?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I reached out to the state of New Hampshire. I'd sent the board an email, that basically, said that the state agreed or still is accepting grants. But we should be, kind of get it in as soon as we can. That was kind of the undertone that I got from them. Now, I do have to say, that when I had talked to the board, I made a mistake, and the amount of the total amount of the grant I thought was $9,000, and we had to put $3,000 towards it. Is that what you guys recall?
I remember it being 12,000,
So
and
that is correct.
3 of it
That
came
is
from
correct.
us,
We
9
still-
came from them.
Our portion of it has not changed. It's still $3,000, but the total amount of the grant was 12 and not 9. So that's my apologies if that came across that way. So basically, I had talked to Beth today, and that would be taken out of the emergency management one-time spending line for the $3,000, which is the town portion of this. This is the hazard mitigation plan. It's different than the emergency operation plan, which we're still working on. The hazard mitigation plan should be updated every 5 years. Last time it was done was about 5-6 years ago. So unlike the emergency operation plan, this plan has been updated fairly recently. So there shouldn't be like huge issues that we're going through now with the emergency operation plan being so old. okay? When I talked to the state, I did ask the program specialist there of if she could like throw out a couple of names, and one of the names that she said was MAPS, which is the current company we're using now for the emergency operation plan. They're out of Twin Mountain. They've done these before. They've done hundreds for the state. They're a good company and everything, so my recommendation would be just to go through them. They're already working on our emergency operation plan. I believe that that would probably be the best route to go. I do have paperwork here, which I think you guys also got, but I just, I'll give it to you for, if you guys do end up making the motion tonight.
Thank you.
This is what the grant is.
I got it, thanks.
You have it, okay. This is what the grant has to say.
Well, we can't do the motion tonight because it's $12,000 and requires a public hearing. Is that correct, that it's for the acceptance or in order to enter the grant? Or apply for the grant?
I believe tonight you're making the decision whether to hold a public hearing.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be the same way you make the motion to let him apply? And
Right, that's what I'm asking, is it,
Before accepting the money, you have to have a public hearing.
Right.
'cause as
that's
with
that's
the-
what I was trying to ask, I'm not sure if that's
he
what I
may or may
asked.
not get it,
Right.
so.
I got a couple of questions.
Absolutely. Sure.
So, I saw you had said that the last update was 2018. So I said, all right, went on the website, look up hazard mitigation plan, and it came up, I guess there was a committee at one time. The last update, it says, was done in 2011, so the website's out of date, it appears.
Yeah, because I have the 2018 plan, I believe.
So then it states that the plan is available town hall or the library. I'm just wondering why we don't have it on the website.
I thought we did.
No, I
Sounds
think
fixable.
It was done with conjunction of Southern New Hampshire Planning, and I think they have it on their website,
Oh, okay.
but I was just gonna look there.
Okay, because I know
Put it
someone,
on ours Or a link to it.
yeah, because I know someone had I mean, this is before this. This is, I think, when I was still the interim chief. Someone had emailed me. That's how I got it. Someone emailed me, so I have it. And I could forward that to you guys if you want. If you
No,
want.
just, it'd be
Put it on the
nice to,
website.
yeah.
I don't know why it's not here, or why there's not a
Yeah.
copy of it here. That's,
So then that leads me to how interactive is this with anything that we do?
as in pertaining to what?
Do we have any, like, maintenance protocol or reviews or anything?
Well,
to say?
that's what basically why it should be done every 5 years, because the people change. You know, people change, things change within the town, something may have been added, something may have been taken away. You know, I know one of the plans was, we're still working on with the SAU for the warming shelter, and all that stuff has been added, that was never there. How to deal with people's pets and everything else like that. A lot of it kind of blends with the emergency operation plan, and both of these are required for us to move forward to get grants and stuff like that, especially Chief Moore has been kind of asking that, when we're gonna get it done, and unfortunately, the emergency operation plan, again, was a little older. So a lot of that information has to be updated that was really old. But I believe, again, like I said, the hazard mitigation plan should move forward pretty quick. There's been a couple of changes in town, but I don't think there's been anything that's been super drastic.
Yep.
That I know of anyways.
Was your question more of, does the plan itself call for things to happen?
Yeah, does it set any actions in place that,
It tells who's responsible for what and how the town, what hazards are in the town, as whether it be the dam, or, the reservoir or something like that, if that was to break or whatever the case. There's different hazards that are identified through the town.
Through a second party.
That-
Second
that-
party's basically auditing the town.
Yep, that they ought, yep, correct, yep. But again, it puts people in place of, who to contact, what to do, is there any operational thing?
I'm saying,
One of the big things is, like, we went 24/7. So we have a full-time fire department now. Well, that's huge in your in your hazard plan, because we were never there before.
And it also opens up opportunity for grants, not the.
Correct, oh, absolutely.
Well, I know we talked, it didn't happen, of course, because it never happens for highway, but we talked about, getting grant money for River Road. We talked to Southern New Hampshire because it was an alternative route to Route 114.
Sure, yep.
Opens those doors. If you don't have it, it's not a possibility. Didn't happen anyway, but.
Right, it
Remember-
does,
remember
it
talking
does
with Southern
open
New
doors to other grants, and including highway stuff.
Yeah, I was on it last time, so there was just discussion with Southern New Hampshire, I remember that if you don't have, it's not a possibility, not that it necessarily happens anyway, but,
Right.
as far as the grants, but it certainly opens.
And that's another thing, that's like, I said, the reservoir, that's the other thing identifies like major routes, where would you put people, how would people move throughout the town? And
that translates back to the departments, back to the police chief, back to the fire chief.
correct, and highway department and the town and everything.
Yeah, it's just, when I look at it, it's a 300-page document, it's like,
Oh, yeah, if you wanna,
I mean, what's
go
this
to
telling me?
sleep at night, yeah, you could read it. I mean, there is some good information there, and I guess when you need it, it's there. I mean, I have this last winter, for instance, when we had the bad ice storm, snowstorm, and all the power lines came down across 114, theoretically, the town was cut off. We had no way for the fire department, unless we went in through Goffstown and came back up, down 13, came into Goffstown and came back up this way, to get to anybody on that side. Because around Maple Wall, there was lines across the road, and theoretically, that side of the town was cut off for hours, that we had no way. Thank God we didn't have an emergency, but that's stuff that this identifies how we, if we had to go different ways or plans or different routes, as he was saying, like River Road or something like that, so.
so it identifies your emergency routes, in case.
Yeah,
one's blocked.
yeah, all, it kind of generalizes, but again, it picks up the hazard, the hazard locations in town, whether it be something, in ways of routes, or, again, like the reservoir, or stuff like that.
That pretty much answers my questions. Yeah, I was just looking at it as a $12,000 item for a book of information that probably no one looks at, but if it is interactive, then it's
I
definitely
would,
worthwhile.
I would agree with you, and I would say, you would hope you would never have to look at it.
Yeah, well, I
You know,
understand.
it's
I want
basically
you to look at it
insurance.
all the time so that you know
Yeah.
what's in it.
It's an insurance thing, that when something does happen, you have, just like the emergency operation plan, which is a little bit different, but
I guess
it's a reference book.
That's kind of the point too, is there like a review every year, say, instead of having some coming in 5 years or whatever, to say, okay, let's relook at things. Is there like key points that we review and say, hey, are these still pertinent? Or do we need
Or
to do
even that
something
everybody just
now?
understands what they are.
Right. So like a training, more or less, or
Yeah.
some type of,
I don't want to
Collaborative
say a
effort.
drill, but a paper walkthrough.
Right.
Do you guys do that on a regular basis?
No. Nope.
Can you?
If there's time, absolutely, yes, yep. But to get everyone on that would involve you guys too. So it would be sitting down with you guys, once a year to go through and basically the department heads, and going through so everyone can review the document. Absolutely. I mean, same way with the emergency operation plan, everyone should have kind of a buy-in on that to know what's going on.
all right, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, or? am I gonna proceed with this, or am I'm,
Well, I think,
or does this
I
have to?
understood what the sequence is we authorize you to apply for the grant.
Okay,
And then once you get the grant, we accept the grant. The
Gotcha.
acceptance of the grant would require the public hearing.
okay. Does that piece of paper that I gave you, does that have to be filled out and signed by?
This looks like it's actually saying that we're accepting the grant agreement,
Okay,
but I don't think we're at that stage yet,
okay.
so,
I will, work on that tomorrow.
okay. So,
Just make a motion to.
yeah, I was gonna say, I'll accept a motion to authorize Chief Rourke to apply for the HMP grant with the state of New Hampshire. Would anyone like to move that?
Yeah, sure. So moved.
Second.
Moved by Selectman Knapp, seconded by Selectman Pratt. Any further discussion? All in favor, say yes or yay?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay. Motion passes 5-0-0. Go get us a grant.
We are certainly gonna try.
Okay, would you like these back?
No, you keep them.
Okay.
You keep,
So Janice, on the Southern Hampshire website, they did the last one, you go to snhpc.org, and you go under communities, it's listed there as the Ware Hazard Mitigation Plan of 2018, and it's only 152 pages long.
Ooh.
So we cut it down.
look at that, cut it down.
The ones I saw were twice the size, so hey.
So it's there, and I made a note, I'd like to grab it and put it on ours, or put a link to it, so that it's there.
Yeah,
But it's
that'd
only
be-
152 pages.
Thank you,
Yeah.
appreciate that. Anything else?
Not for me.
All right, thank you so much, appreciate
Okay.
it.
152 pages of 8-point font, is that what it said?
I don't know. I don't know. Director Fisk.
Here I am.
Tell us how much money you're gonna save us.
Quite a bit,
Okay.
Thank you.
The second one, yeah. Yeah, I feel very slighted. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Talk about 8-point font.
It's a big one.
No,
No, it's a little
not.
one.
Everybody bring their glasses, I hope.
Uh-huh. You just have to focus them better.
Good thing about being nearsighted.
I can't see anything without my glasses, so. Nothing.
Use your phone.
I've done that before. Magnify it. I'm good. Sure? Yeah, thank you. I'm just complaining. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Do we want to just go down through line by line here? Is that going to be easier for you guys, or do you want to pick out things you want to talk about?
You touch on the increases, wouldn't you think, or
I'm-
big changes?
I'm fine with that.
Any other suggestions? Okay, okay.
Anything that you changed, I guess?
Well, we can go 120. All right, sorry. First column, 410, be the on-call bonuses. You guys saw that, the proposed last year, it's still the same. $2,500 a person.
And I forget, that was like a weekly thing, right? Somebody came in the middle or somebody went out on leave. Wasn't a flat $2,500 check.
So the way that I planned on doing it, was to give half
beginning of the year, half at the end. We stuck through it. I think it'd be nice, hey, here you boys go, you're on call, fill up your oil tank or whatever. That's how I would do it. I know last year we did the weekly deal, but I think this just gives a little bit more incentive up front, small chunk, and then at the back end, when everything's all done, get the rest of it.
Okay.
And as folks sign up during the year, or if they sign up a little bit late, they just miss out on the first 1 or 2 weeks or whatever it is, and
Yeah, yep. Yeah, we'd certainly prorate it. The rest of those increases there are payroll increases. And then 422A is a new line, CDL licensing. That's a program you guys approved a few months back for us. I just wanted to put that in there so it had its own line. We were billing that into meetings and seminars on the next line above that, so.
Can you just touch on that again, what that is?
Yeah, so with all the new federal requirements for CDL training, it is more efficient for us just to send somebody out to school for 2-3 weeks if we have to. Like we talked about before, it's for the right candidate.
Right.
We're definitely gonna make sure that we have the right person to send out for this school if we're gonna do it. And then the contract is, that you guys approved was a 2-year contract. So if we do pay for somebody's CDL, they are supposed to stick with us for that 2 years at least.
And this covers one license?
That's one person, yep, yep. And we can go down to 428, software support. This new line stems from some asset management software that we had talked about last year. Didn't end up going through because you guys definitely wanted the taxpayers' vote on that. To make sure that we had money to pay for that, so we weren't committing to anything we didn't have money for. So we put it in the budget last year, and it's back in the proposed budget this year.
Is it gonna be 10,000 a year for that software? Or is it a one-time purchase?
So I did get a quote, and it's around 15,000 for the first year, and then your yearly service cost was, I think, around 8,000. Again, these are all just budget numbers. Nothing's been out to bid or anything like that, so I can't tell you with 100% of surety, but it's
so
in that ballpark.
So if it was approved, you wouldn't have enough to even purchase it in the first year, right?
No, we'd have to get the money somewhere else if we were gonna do it out of the budget. I just don't wanna put, 15,000 in there and then we have, whatever, 6,000-7,000 left over every year in that line,
Well, you could always drop it down the next year, but
if the budget passes,
Yeah, the bigger question on that is where's the what's in it for me? We're gonna spend 15 grand on a software, what's the upside? Is it straight cost, or is there an offset somewhere coming back to pay that off?
It's basically the software is, setting up work orders for our road work. There is some layers of mapping. We can grade our roads, red, green, yellow, 1, 2, 3, 4, however however we go about it. Culverts, there's a culvert layer, drainage layer, can add all storm drains, culverts, catch basins, take pictures of those, grade those, the condition they're in, what materials there are. That price has vehicle maintenance included, work orders for the shop, vehicle history.
Make a book for each vehicle in that
Yeah,
software?
it'll be all right in that system. You can go back, look at what you've done in the past. You can search, for filter numbers, anything when it comes to maintenance. There's a sign layer that would have been pretty helpful for the police department. We can GPS drop pins at every stop sign, every speed limit sign, every no through trucking sign. And then, when the guys go out on patrol, they can go, okay, there's supposed to be 3 signs on this road. Take an iPad out in the 1 ton. There's a sign that's not there, it's supposed to be there. Inventory of signs, inventory of parts. It's all around improvement at the highway department.
It also gives you the ability, if I'm not mistaken, to enter basically service tickets, calls for service.
Yeah, work
Dispatch those
orders for
out.
the guys out on the road. So, myself, I can go in there and assign certain guys, certain projects, assign just regular projects to the crew. So if they get their stuff done, they go in, say, oh, there's a couple open work orders, so I can do this one by the end of the day today. They can get out and do that.
And is there training for the use of this?
Yeah, so that initial cost, there is, forget, 1 or 2 companies, it's about like a 5-hour training that you can sit through with them. And that's included in the cost there to go over all the systems that you end up ordering and purchasing, so.
Will they help you set up the initial inventory and?
Yep, so they can take any spreadsheets that we do have and input those into the system. So we can take the road spreadsheet that we have now, give that to them. They can then put that in there. Vehicle, we have VIN numbers and filter numbers written down in spreadsheet. They can take that and physically put that in their system. They go through with you. You can set up exactly how you want your work orders to look like. So they'll do that initial setup for you. You just check the box, hey, I want this, 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 and this. And then in the future, if you find something that you want to add into that, you just go into the system, edit the work order. You can save it, and then your work order's going from there. Have everything that you want.
So with all those things that you mentioned, what are we looking at department-wise? Just an efficiency increase? Is there a monetary
100%.
value associated to that efficiency increase? Because you spend $8,000 a year, are you gonna be saving at least $8,000 a year?
I don't have a number for you on that, but, anything's better than what we're doing right at the moment.
It would just be nice to have something monetized, how you feel it would move the department, what it would give back to the town, time, is it 2 extra projects a year, is it 5 extra projects a year that you guys can get done? How does it, how does it benefit the town? Right now, it just looks like a cost.
Well, it equates to a lot of stuff not getting forgotten too.
And I'm behind that, that's fine, but it's, how do you explain that? How do you bring that to the forefront to say, we're gonna make this investment, and this is how it's gonna pay off? So,
Yep.
just something to think about and mull over.
I hate jumping around, Jason, so I apologize. I just happened to notice when I read, for the floor drain tank back up to 420 building maintenance.
Yep.
Do you ever, I know I did not do it, so, not chastising, not getting done. We ever treated that floor? Should that be something we had in there?
Oh,
With all the salt dripping on it, I know every so many years they said we should, and I didn't, so.
yeah,
Didn't know if that ought to be something to
yeah.
get a quote on to put in that line, or maybe it's something we only do every 5 years and it doesn't belong in a line, but.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea for sure.
And I only know that because when another town that was building a garage was renting a garage, that was an annual cost that they had to do part of their rent
Okay.
because of salt dripping on. So anyways, I thought of it when I read back up the floor drain tank. And
I can look into that for sure. We do, obviously, we did that when you were there. Pressure wash the floor, every spring, every fall.
Well, you keep it up nice,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, just letting everybody know that we're not doing nothing about
Right,
that
right, no,
part.
I wasn't implying that either.
Yep.
So.
So we go from software down to,
Can we actually, can I say one more thing there?
Sure, go ahead.
So I know like the CIP, and I think you're gonna get to it here in a minute, you talked about like an increase in the road maintenance fund, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm somewhat hopeful that the asset management software you're talking about would give us some better data on like, what do we actually need to be asking for each year?
I mean, like, the time that the police went out and spent gathering every stop sign, every no-through trucking sign, I could have had you guys a report printed out in 5 minutes. Obviously, there would have been time, the highway department going out and plugging that data in, but at the end of the day, you guys want a report on, hey, what do our roads look like at the end of the year this year? I could have that to you.
Yeah, and then as Selectman Bloom just said, you can then take that and say, okay, where do we want to be at the end of next year and how much money do we need to
Yeah.
ask for? Because right now it's just a wild guess, based on a lot of knowledge, but it's still a guess.
Yeah, that software would definitely nail it down a little bit closer, for sure, and you could have something in front of you saying, hey, we have 150 roads, 97% of them are green, whatever. So,
Likewise, for a truck maintenance, if you get something that's 12 years old and for the last 5 years you spent $20,000, you
Yeah.
keep fixing on, there's another truck
yeah,
that you could have paid for.
I will say on the maintenance side of things, Beth does a great job at keeping track of money that we put into each truck.
She does.
Unfortunately, we do have like a vehicle maintenance general line when it comes to that, and the stuff that we put in that is typically hydraulic fittings and hydraulic hose. If any of you guys are familiar with plow trucks as much as Benji is, you change a lot of hydraulic hoses. So at the end of the year, we might have $9,000 for hydraulic hoses in that general line. We're not sure exactly which truck those are going to. The way we buy hydraulic hoses in a rather large roll, and they cost about $1,000 a piece. It's cheaper than buying individual hoses at Napa. We make them right at the shop. So we could take that and say, hey, there's 1,000 feet of hydraulic hose in this roll. I used 5 of it on T1, and I use these fittings on T1. Put that in your work order at the end of the year. We have a better report for Beth and a better report for you guys on how much money we actually spent on each truck.
That'd be cool. That's one thing I always hated, I couldn't figure out how to track.
Well, so it's the thing with,
Because
if you,
along with a blown hose usually goes 30 gallons of oil too. So,
exactly.
I mean, and
Yeah,
those
you-
never get allocated to the vehicle.
yeah.
And usually it's the older vehicles that it happens to, so.
And, you know, we use 2 hydraulic hose fittings per hose, call Napa up and reorder 2 fittings. They don't show up until we have a bigger order. They're not driving all the way across town for $5 in hydraulic fittings. So we save up a bag of hydraulic fittings, the salesman comes by, grabs them, reorders them. So, again, that stuff's gonna help with those kind of year-end report things. help us keep track of maintenance on vehicles and road maintenance.
But like
Just-
but like any accounting software, the important part is keeping up and, keeping the
Yep.
data up to date.
Yep. Yeah, so everybody would have their own login on this, and there'll only be a couple people who are actually administrators who can go in and change things, myself, foreman, shop foreman. Then all the other guys can log in, basically start their day off. If, if myself or the road foreman or shop foreman wants to take a day off, the assistant mechanic can go in and say, oh, yep, T1's scheduled for an oil change today. I'll go do that. Really kind of leaves the early phone calls or somebody who's, got something in the family going on or whatever, kind of saves on that, as well as just plain efficiency as far as the highway department goes, how it moves. This can be used at the transfer station, keep track of maintenance up there. And I don't know 100% as far as like keeping track of recyclables and trash up at the transfer station. That's something I'd have to look into.
That was the next question.
We talked last year about whether other departments use it, and I think the answer was it's not worth it.
The other two department, or police and fire, have their own
Right.
stuff. They can certainly, there is an extra, package that we can add on to this one if they wanted to hop on our stuff, but.
Just making sure I remember that right.
Or how about the building department? If it creates work orders and tickets.
Good idea. Guess, would you be able to find out how much that would cost?
I can look into it.
Just if it's not too much trouble.
Yeah. Anything else?
On to the next.
430 photocopier services. We did finally update our photocopier, the highway department, so
No.
you don't believe that?
Jeez.
Was there a monk or something before?
Oh, it was a hand-me-down
Yeah,
when we got it, and then the shop's clean air system blew enough dust on it, it finally killed it.
so that's a cost associated with that.
So it's already in place.
It is, yep. Vehicle fuel has obviously gone down per your guys' setting of that rate. Drug, alcohol testing, that's gone up $400, just increased costs, and we have had quite a few new hires this year. Shop supplies, obviously increase the cost there. We upped that line $2,000. Chain.
Just real high level, what kind of stuff is in that bucket?
Brake clean, PB blaster, grease is not in there, that's oil and lubricants, speedy dry,
So like, is it stuff?
absorbent,
It's stuff to work on the building and the vehicle, or just,
yeah,
Both,
Consumable type things.
exactly, yep.
but consumable for anything?
Anything down at the highway
In the shop.
department, yep.
Great, okay.
Chainsaw supplies, we bumped that line up $250 due to increase in costs. Communications equipment, up that up. It's weather forecasting service that we pay for, increase in costs there.
See, it's the weather precision forecasting service.
Yes,
Can you
yeah.
increase the precision?
They're actually pretty good. They do updates, 4 updates a day. There is an on-call meteorologist. You can give them a call any time of day, any time of night, and ask them. See if you're waiting for an update and you don't think that it's accurate, or you don't think you want to wait that long. Say if should I go for my last cleanup pass? Should I wait? You can give them a call. I know Benji's used it a bunch. I've used it. Called them last year. I think once or twice. And they're an all around great service. They wait, 1 or 2 days in advance of a storm to really give you the most accurate forecast. Not like the news where they're
What's
doing.
nice in the wintertime, especially, because I think that this package is year-round, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Specifically, winter was, I'd say 90% of the time forecasts are all the same. You get a nor'easter, everybody's gonna say it snows, but they can localize exactly where wear is. So I always said that if that one time when meteorologists were all over the place and we wanted to clean up, and we were excited to go home because we've been there for 30 hours, should we or shouldn't we? That one time, if he saved us from going out an hour too early, I had the number back then, but whatever it is, if it saves 10 grand, so you go pour all the salt out and have the guys go do all that, and you gotta do it, it
Again.
pays for the whole year's thing. And it might only work 3 times a year, because the rest of the time, they're all the same anyway, but if it happens at once, and usually it happens at least once a year. But that's,
So I take it they're more precise in terms of timing and accumulation?
yeah, whatever software they have, they can look, they have equipment, they can look down under all the clouds and see exactly what Ware's doing, exactly what Hillsboro's doing. If Hillsboro were to have this,
Yeah, they pinpoint it to
they
their
pinpoint
customer.
it to the town, not necessarily the county or whatever, so.
Okay.
Gravel road maintenance, we just brought that up from, the number it was at to an even, 15,000. We use that line for, calcium and, stone as well, mud season.
Is that adequate based on the expenses?
Yes. Sand and salt, brought that up, $4,700. To come up to state bid, $75.90 per ton. An estimated 3,000 tons of salt for us. And uniforms, we had a slight hiccup, when we went to the try-on period with the new company. There was a little bit of miscommunication in what we wanted. So I know we approved 153 a week. And there's 2 options of pants. There's either jeans or a work pant. The work pant is a little bit more expensive. So if the whole crew chose those work pants, the max per week would be 165.04 rather than that 153. That keeps UniFirst still the low bidder. If you guys could approve that and amend that motion for us to spend up to that per week, that would be nice.
And who was the current vendor that we approved? Sorry, I don't.
UniFirst.
UniFirst. And the revised amount up to is 165.04
Yep.
per week?
Mm-hmm.
I'll accept a motion to modify UniFirst contract up to an amount of $165.04 per week to account for the variation between jeans and work pants. Anyone like to move that?
So moved.
Thank you, Selectman Pratt. Anyone like to second that?
Second.
Thank you, Selectman Knapp. Any discussion? All in favor, say yes or yay. Yes. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay. Motion passes 500.
Thank you. Sorry about
Welcome.
that. Next increase is, $458, not weed control. We upped that $2,000 just because, there's an increase in cost this year. We are going to end up paying around $93.50 for that.
There's been an increase in nutweed too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that for the same coverage, or is this additional coverage, do you know?
There is a small amount of additional coverage in there. I do need to go through with, that vendor and redo a map of town, see any areas that it has spread. I know, I think the last time that was done was like 2019 or 2020. So that'll have to be updated.
Funny thing about an invasive species.
Yeah.
So that's highway. Is there any more questions on highway before we move on?
Just for anybody following at home, for highway, the total estimate difference is a negative 63,447. So the default budget would have been 2063,094, I believe. And the proposed is 2,019,648, I believe. Close enough for these purposes, I guess. Okay, keep going.
I'm sorry, that was the difference between the default and the proposed budget?
Right.
And that's what you want? Okay.
Yep, yeah.
I didn't know if you wanted 24 to 25.
Well, we could say that as well. The 24 approved budget was $2,031,007. And the 2025 proposed is $2,019,648. So, again, a decrease there, but lesser amount.
Not to jump around again, how much unleaded gas did we budget for?
$3.25 a gallon?
For how many gallons?
How many gallons is the question?
Says 350 on this sheet. 350 gallons?
No, it was $3.50 for diesel.
It says 350 gallons of unleaded at 325 gallon. I'm sure it's just a typo, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I
That's
just,
supposed to be 3,500, Beth?
And if the note is wrong, that's perfectly fine, I just want to
Yeah, I
make sure the
believe it
math
is.
equates to that, that's all.
Highway, 350.
Yeah,
125 budget, 350.
350 gallons?
yeah, because, well, they buy about 14,000 gallons of unleaded, but then almost
Oh,
15,500.
okay, my apologies, yeah.
deny a lot.
I know it.
Reimbursed.
Now I'm doing things a hair different, I forgot to allocate here, I'm sorry.
So we're good?
Is you don't have hardly any gas vehicles, everything's diesel, so
Yeah.
everybody else is allocated. I'm used to something different now, so I'm sorry.
The pickups and chainsaws. Or the one pickup.
Right. Yep, okay, thank you.
So you're talking just the unleaded, not the diesel?
Yeah, and it just, I was thinking they buy way more, but
They do,
it's taken out, I understand, I remember now, I just
okay.
doing the same thing somewhere different, we do it different now, so I had me stumbled up for a minute, so. Moving on.
Street lighting. Down $300 for usage. So that's that.
Haven't replaced the bulbs, so we're not using any.
Not sure.
I don't know how they do it now. When I was in Deering, they made me go around and check them all because it was per month, per fixture, no matter how much electricity it was using. Is how they did do it. I don't know, that was 10 years ago now. I drove around and there was, at night, and there was 5 bulbs that was out. So I drove around, made them fix them because it didn't pay on the electricity was being used, paid for that lamp to be on. And they're supposed to replace them with LED now, but. So if you guys are out driving, see one out, you might want to call them. Pay for it being out or on. I can't have very many, I don't know how many. Is that out, yeah?
Down in Riverdale? For one street?
There's one down there, yeah.
Yeah, and it's out. I've called them 100 times, I won't fix it.
I think a note was just taken.
Uh,
I think a note was just taken.
Well, I tried when I was wearing, I've tried since I've been new boss, and I couldn't get them to fix it. The one by Just Like Mom's.
Yeah.
They've been doing something down there on the Goffstown side or New Boston side.
Should be nice and close there, right there.
I would think.
Transfer. You've seen on-call bonus for those guys. In the event that they do come in, get called in. It does happen a few times a year for them. We do end up going up through there and cleaning up for them just a little bit with the plow trucks, but they do inevitably have to come in early and clean up walkways and stuff like that for people to go ahead and throw their trash, recyclables. Building maintenance, we upped that $1,000, just to try to help the facility out up there. We have spent a significant amount of money up there this year trying to rebuild a few of the sheds. We got a new compactor or baler. Had to rebuild the back of that shed, so there's a little bit of money involved in that. NRR dues, 481, increase that $55. And then hauling, trash. It's a contract you guys approved a couple weeks ago for Sizemore. Increase there. The actual disposal of said trash, it's gone up from $90 a ton last year to $95 a ton this coming year.
Is it supposed to be 5?
5 every year.
Yeah.
Hauling metals, again, part of that contract. Hauling paper, again, part of that contract. Shop supplies, we increased that from $250 to $1,000. Fuel surcharge and wait time, we did have to increase that a significant amount, because of the trend that we've been seeing, at the facility that we get rid of our trash.
That's if we make the driver have to wait. Is that what that was for?
Yep, so that's your wait time portion of that, and then the fuel surcharge is in that hauling contract that you guys approved a couple weeks ago. Fuel usage, it's gone, prices dropped there per, the rate you set. The uniform change there, you guys had already, we talked about that with highway. Landfill, we get a small increase in costs there at, monitoring wells, that's for the landfill. Small increase in costs there due to the, little program we set up for, maintenance on that, or preventative maintenance rather. Tires, we increased that by 500, just per the cost. And hazardous waste day, we increased that, to 15,000. It certainly doesn't take very long to get up to that number, and, certainly everybody's not thrilled when we have to shut the doors down on that, so, it's definitely something that people want, so.
Do you have
we
any
increased
idea
that.
about when the next one could be done?
So the new vendor we found is pretty flexible. I liked doing it in the summertime. Everybody would come out, not be cold, sit in their car. So I'd like to shoot for later in the summer, maybe early fall. That's transfer. Any more questions on transfer?
So overall, this one has an increase of $59,324. The 24 approved budget is $488,862, and the 25 proposed that you're bringing forward is $555,681.
I would just note that majority of it is contractual, either between the hauling or the solid waste disposal.
Yeah, a lot of that, comes from that contract of hauling. Fuel surcharge wait time is definitely killing us there. And then, like,
36,000 just for trash disposal.
yeah, just like Selectman Knapp said, trash is increased.
Okay.
Sewer. First line salary, actually the first 5 or so lines, there's salary stuff. Little decrease in the cost of electricity. There's an increase in pumping costs. And then those next few lines are professional services that we were paying for.
So to summarize that section, it's a proposed increase of $2,854. The approved budget for '24 was $16,917, and the request is for $19,771. Okay, last section.
And I always like to make note of that that's paid for by the users. So although, yes, they are taxpayers, it doesn't affect you if you're
Yeah, it's not a dispersed cost, it's a direct benefit cost.
Any questions on that? Water. We just took that first training line there and bumped it up to $50 instead of $1, so that's where you see the $49 increase in that department.
Any specific training in mind there?
You have to keep a certain amount of ongoing professional development. So there is a cost associated with that. It's not much, but.
Okay.
Any last minute questions on the whole Public Works Department?
Guess, not a question, but just to remark that if my math is right, I have removed the fuel from the line because that was something we did, and it's like a giant correction from previous years, which accounted for 123,000 decrease. And it's just not in your control. And if that is removed, I see Highway Department, about a 3% increase, street lighting, $300 decrease. Transfer station, if I'm doing it right, 12.8% increase. That was a lot of it, obligations, contract obligations. Sewer is a small dollar amount, 16.9% increase. So again, if I did, and then 1% of the $49 on water. If I do the math right, about a 4.8% increase if you're not counting the large decreases in the fuel cost. So, not a question, just some math.
No more questions?
Not on that one.
Perfect.
Thank you.
We'll move on to CIP requests. First one I got to you guys is road reconstruction. It's definitely one that you guys see every year. Looking to go up 50,000 from last year to 650,000 with an estimated cost or an estimated warrant of $366,000 roughly, and block grant funding of $283,000 roughly.
So with the 650,000, how many red roads are gonna be made green, or yellow roads made green, or green roads not getting yellow or red?
So there is a degree there of preventive maintenance as well as rebuilding. The plan is to at least get 2 red listed roads done this coming year.
Out of how many?
I don't have an accurate number for you right at the moment. We are in the process of doing 3 roads right now. That would kind of throw me off a little. I haven't updated that list. I believe as of right now, there's 6 red listed. As far as my spreadsheet says. And if all the stuff is completed this year. That should bring that number down to 4 rather. There was one that was not red, but we were in the area, and it didn't make sense for us to not do it. It's a smaller road, so.
What would it take to do the other two?
I don't have a number for you on that. I couldn't say.
And this fund was set up, just as as a reminder, specifically for fixing those red, as opposed to
It's
maintaining.
a general maintenance, for all the roads in town.
It's any road work.
Yeah. Yeah. Culverts, concrete blocks, pavement's obviously in there, the chip coating is in there, gravel for rebuilding roads in there. Almost any material you could think of that comes to rebuilding a road or general maintenance of a way.
And are there any bridge improvements as part of this 650, or those are separate?
We do have a separate bridge fund, so if we were gonna do any bridge maintenance stuff, it would go there. We do have some culverts that I guess would technically end up being bridges, but when we do rebuild those roads, that do have those situations, we'd end up taking the money out of road reconstruction when we do it, and they would then turn into a technical bridge. Any more questions on that?
Is that why you see the leveling off year 2027 on, is because we anticipate the red listings to be down and then it's just maintenance?
Yeah, so it is obviously with the cost of materials fluctuating as much as they do. I'd like to see us leveling off and staying there. There is a general rule of thumb on kind of what your mileage of road are versus how much money you should budget every year. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. That 750 is really what we should be shooting for.
Have you changed that 750? Is that,
That's moving forward.
right, but is that, did you put that there this year? Is that what's been out them years for a while? The reason I'm asking is we did that whole red, yellow, green thing.
Yep.
We did have, outside sources come in, help us analyze the net worth of our roads and what it was per mile to keep up with them. And it seems like once we got the red done, they figured that's what it would take to keep things kind of happy. But that reason I'm asking was because if that hasn't changed since that study, that 750 kind of was the number whenever we did it, 2016 or 17 or whenever
Yeah.
that was done.
Yeah, I
So,
think it was 18.
18. So that's kind of where that number derived from was, we finally get the terrible, terrible roads done. That's what it should take to maintain our road network, but that was then, so unless
Yep.
you
Yeah,
updated
so-
it, that number might grow in the future.
Yeah, so last year I went to the same seminar, road maintenance, road preservation and maintenance, kind of the same thing with all states presented it. And that's what I came up with when
Okay.
with all the information that they gave.
Okay.
So that's why that number's there. And
Okay.
there's a small increase over these next couple years to get us there.
Yep.
I didn't want to do it all at once, obviously, a big sticker shock for the taxpayer, so.
Right.
Thank you.
I'll give you this one first.
Good.
We'll share that. Roadside mower. You guys saw this last year. Gonna replace our 1995 New Holland that is no longer in service. This is basically just to cut back all the vegetation on the roads, make it safe for people traveling, better visibility at intersections. We do have a program of either renting one or hiring this stuff out. My opinion, in the long run, that we own one of these, it's gonna pay off for us, versus spending the money we do every year and not getting as much done as we can.
So right now, it's 12 grand a year is what we're spending on that. So what's your line item
Yeah,
is?
when we max the line out or overspend on that line, we're getting about an eighth of the town done, where we could be getting upwards of 60% done every year.
Is this the exact same number as last year? The 175?
It is the same. Any questions on that?
So if we wanted to do the 60% of the town, it would cost us roughly 72,000 to lease or rent.
About,
You go from an eighth to 60%, it's
Yeah.
roughly,
Every year,
every year. So this would pay itself back in,
2 years.
you're never gonna catch up with it the way we're doing it.
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So if you were to rent something to do it every year, this would pay itself back
Yeah.
in 2 years, so. Okay. 2.5.
Thank you.
Again, this is another one you guys see every year. Plow truck, 10-wheeler. Increased our efficiency when it comes to sanding, salting. We are definitely gaining roads in town rather than losing any, so we do need that increase in efficiency. We are, in fact, gaining mileage to plow rather than losing it. So this vehicle will meet the needs of the highway department this year. I'd like to see one in rotation every year to keep the fleet where we need to be, so we're not spending large amounts every year for maintenance.
This enough? This is enough?
Yep. Yep.
How many, what's our fleet size right now?
We have 11 big trucks.
So one a year, okay.
Yep. Yep. And a lot of the times, the truck we are gonna replace is gonna have to go through another winter. So in March, this gets voted on. That vehicle that we are gonna trade in is gonna have to stretch another year, so even if we make it through this winter and say, hey, this is in dire need of replacement, it's gonna have to go through another winter more than likely.
And we're probably replacing, are they still the six-wheel ones?
Yeah, we have two six-wheelers left, so we will end up replacing one of those.
Circa 1990?
I think the 07, 06, 07. Yeah.
Which one will it replace this year? Which one will you replace this year?
7 or 8.
So,
Yeah.
Whichever one's worse.
Yeah, they didn't actually go through, they didn't plow last year. I think I plowed in 8 a couple times last year, because one of the 10-wheelers broke down, so I gave somebody else a 10-wheeler on their route, because, they needed it versus what I was doing. So 7 didn't see snow last year, other than pulling it in and out of the shop a couple times, keeping the brakes free.
And I was told there are not gonna be any transmissions till 2026, so
Yeah.
I wanna get in rotation, because there's gonna be a long line of names.
Yep.
So you're not gonna see it next year, but if your name isn't in the bucket, then you're gonna be
Gonna be a few more years, yeah.
the transmission that we all put in them. They've been calling a shortage for a year, so I don't know why they can't
These
come up with them, but,
Allisons?
yeah.
Yep.
Was what the salesman told me anyway. Maybe he was just trying to sell me a truck. Did you hear the same thing?
I did hear the same thing, but yeah, again, who knows, probably the same salesman.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he has a speech down good. But usually they're not telling you those things if it's not at least partially true,
Right.
so, if not fully true, so. So you mentioned you're getting more roads. How are you getting more roads? Could you explain to me how you get new roads?
Approved subdivisions. Okay, Jay? She asked how you get more roads.
Yeah, I was just gonna wait
Oh.
till I got up to the microphone. Yeah, sorry. So just all the subdivisions that are going in town. I know Hilburn we picked up a couple years ago. Cortland right up here on 77, that I'm sure will be coming soon. I saw that got top coated.
114.
114 rather, yep. That got top coated a couple weeks ago, so I would imagine next year or the year after, there'll be a request for the town to take that over. Duck Pond Estates, all that stuff up through there, eventually we're gonna have to pick up, so.
Do we get money from the subdivision for doing this kind of work
No,
long term?
They hold the bond, we hold the bond on it for a few years, but as far as I know, there's no monetary, yeah.
Just in terms of the taxes that we collect from the houses, that's it.
So I did, when I was trying to make an argument for the 10-wheelers years ago, just since I had started back in 2001, I roughly, very roughly, it wasn't very scientific, but measured and added up all the new roads or extensions, and it was nearly 11 miles of road in my tenure working for the Public Works. We always figured a plow route was, with turnarounds and intersections, 10 miles was, there's some that are 15 and some that are 8,
Yep.
but the
Yeah.
10-mile mark per truck is plenty to make a turnaround that's even close to being reasonable for, for the public to get in and out, because that's a 3-hour turnaround on a route, so.
Is it that long?
In my time here, there's been a whole plow route added, more or less, I guess what I'm trying to
Exactly,
say,
yeah.
and the highway's never gotten anything for it, you know what I mean?
I-
It's
I-
expected to take care of them,
Yeah,
and
I did the same math you did. I
Yeah.
went back on the website and looked at
you've
the
since
plow
got
routes.
Hilbur, and I didn't have
Yeah,
that yet.
yeah. I looked at all the plow routes, and kind of compared them to what we have now, and just like Selectman Knapp said, it's essentially a whole nother route that's been added. Obviously, that's been over the years, but, there were still 11 pieces of snow plowing equipment, and that's where we're at now, so.
If only you had a piece of software that would track that for you a
Hey.
little bit better.
There's an idea.
There's a lot of subdivisions in this town
There is,
compared to other communities.
yep.
They date clear back to 70s, which are ones that you're fighting to fix now, but, there's lots and lots of them in this town.
Sounds like we should have impact fees.
It's kind of what I was wondering. Maybe there's something we should talk about sometime in the future, and whether or not we want to, what the benefits and drawbacks of even considering something like that would be.
What about that on the finance?
You got one coming soon, get on it.
Are we obligated to accept roads?
I would say you're not.
Just curious. It's one way to stop increasing mileage.
That's up to you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, so can we put on the future topics to talk about would be impact fees? Thank you.
Scale. This one is for the transfer station. You guys pretty much got the pitch when it came to ARPA funds. This is really the same thing, except for funding here. I would like to take half of the cost, bring that out of the transfer station recyclable special revenue fund.
What approximately is in that fund now?
I believe there's 28 change in that fund. Nothing's been added this year yet. At the end of this year, I believe it was gonna be 65 or 64,000
Total, not increase.
total.
Okay.
Yep.
And what else would you do with the other 20K?
So I sent you guys an email maybe a month ago or so, maybe longer, with kind of an idea of what I would like to see at the transfer station, and especially with that fund. You guys are obviously gonna make, it's not a CIP thing for me. I would like us to take 100% of the recycling revenues, put that back into the facility. We do have 50% of that going in now.
And the other 50 goes to the general fund?
The other 50 does go to the general fund. I think it would be good, for the transfer going forward, could help offset the cost of a new facility or more equipment up there. We did do a repair on the compactor a couple years ago, at the end of 2022, I believe. And I believe there had been a repair done 7 years before that on the actual compactor, and they said this was a very temporary repair. And then we went ahead and did another temporary repair on it. So there's no, it's obviously not catastrophically failing yet, but definitely something myself and you guys as a board should look into as far as updating that facility. And that fund would only help with that cost.
The big ticket reason for having the scale would make what we charge equal to what we are paying out for the disposal of the.
Yep, it's definitely gonna help us out, as far as the revolving fund goes. There's no questions on, how we're getting rid of stuff anymore. This is what we pay per pound, this is what you're gonna pay per pound when you dump it at the transfer station.
And this is only the
demo?
the demo, thank you. Is that correct?
So, right now, it would be demo going over that. There's other things in the future we may look at.
What's the weight capacity on it?
So the truck scales go upwards of 100,000. If you guys are ever in the area of B&B Lane, that facility down there has a scale. You can check that out.
What's a full size?
Yeah, it's full-size drive-on scale, truck trailer. Theirs looks like you can drive a six-wheeler or a 10-wheeler roll-off over top of it, or you can get extensions to drive a whole tractor trailer over them. Just the ones that I've looked at.
We don't have many people dumping tractor trailer loads. though,
We
right?
don't. I think Selectman Knapp brought it up.
But today we don't have that.
No.
Okay.
No, Selectman Knapp brought it up, a few weeks back, we were talking ARPA about just, kind of making sure everybody's honest. We could drive one of our vehicles over to see, you know, if they're gonna charge us snow loss or whatever for the cans or paper, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, but as far as people dumping off.
People dumping, no, we don't have that. Any more questions on that?
I'm not sure that I got an answer to the 20,000 that would be left over in the transfer station recyclable special revenue fund. Is there anything specific that you would want to use that for in 2025? I know you said it'd be nice to start accumulating to
I don't have any
upgrade the.
specific plans for
Okay.
it, no.
All right. Thank you.
That's all I have for CIP. Any last minute questions on anything?
Is the library gonna get paved, parking lot?
Depends on how much money we get.
Is that included? Because last year it was brought forward by the library, and then they lumped it all into your money as far as proposed. I don't think it actually made it, though. I think it got dropped off, correct?
No, the last 2 budget cycles that I've gone through, I haven't seen the
Yeah.
extra money come through.
That- Which you recall, the 40K was on there, and then they dropped
I
it.
remember being on there.
Yeah. The best recollection I can have going through my notes is that it didn't actually make it to real dollars.
Yeah, I don't think it did.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's, here a bunch of stuff got cut, so you guys would get a budget, I think. And that was on there, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
We're gonna get an update next week, John Connor Road and, the
Revolving
revolving
fund.
fund. Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else?
Call me. We need to go look at trees, please.
I can do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you coming in tonight. Okay, I think that takes us down to some RFP work.
Do we wanna make a motion for Captain Hood?
I'll do that when we get closer
Okay.
to the administrator. We also need to do the minute taker.
On our schedule, we
Janice. I'm on duty tonight, so I gotta go still go get her probably by like 10. I probably ought to skip out.
I think we'll be done. But if not, I understand.
We have RFP for lawn care, IT, and cleaning services.
I think we've seen the lawn care most, so let's start there. Cemetery Trustee Advisory Committee did provide some recommended changes. I sent those only to TA Bolton, just for an aggregation. And we had previously discussed changes to the cistern maintenance that the fire department was
You
going
know,
to
that's
use.
a copy.
Those were the 2 main things that I was aware of.
Yeah, so I sent this a while ago with the different colors for the municipal lawn care. And then
Bless you.
it had what parks wanted and what library wanted. I added them, still kind of quirky, but I added them for you guys to look at. I made copies if you guys need them.
What about the cemetery changes and the
So I
cistern
made
changes?
cemetery changes, but I got down to your bottom ones and I didn't understand your note with an indented label 1, 2, 3, unindent, and change numbers to 4, 5, 6. I can hand those off to you too, I made extra copies. I got the first ones. Done.
These,
And then you said unindent.
these are not a subset of two. They need to
Okay.
come out and be
What I
called.
was confused with was labeled, I thought you were unindenting them, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, these come out to be number, this would be number 4 over here, number 5 over here, number 6 over here, and number 2 becomes number 7. Four, 5, 6, and out.
Yeah. And then this here, section 1, to change to 3.5.
Yeah, currently identified as I.
Which is in the front. Doesn't have 3.5. Has it 2.5? Is that what you want? Change 2.5 to 3.5?
Yeah.
It's down here too.
Yeah, item 2.
Item 1 helps them out, regular mowing. So all cemeteries will receive regular mowing, section 1. Question mowed with grass height, 3.5. Is that where,
Yeah.
because down here, there's another 2.5 to 3.5, but I
No.
think it's a 3. Okay. So it's 7, and then after, you want me to add the
Yeah.
insurance coverage? Okay. So those changes I penciled in, I'm not on what I have.
Okay.
Do you want to continue, how do you want to do it with cemetery?
I guess generally, there were 2 cemeteries on the list that nobody really knows where they are, so in the second section,
Yeah, I
we
get that.
said to remove
I
them.
removed those. And then you changed from 36 of them to 34 of them in the first paragraph. And then in the second paragraph, we changed 18 up to 16.
Yep.
Makes no sense. That's some of the changes done.
Okay.
If you guys see that, just share. Just 3 more.
Thank you.
The 2 are taken off, why? Because they're, nobody knows where they are? So you said?
It's, yeah, it's, you're removing the 2 of them. And the rationale was no one knows definitively where they are, or as to the probable, the lawn care company is not doing the maintenance. And then, to verify, so 17, 18 got removed,
Well, I think it was 17, 18 on section 2,
correct.
not section 1.
So the first page removed. And what we just went over.
Yeah, so I think if I can back up under number 1, the first set of 18 should stay 18,
Yeah,
and it's the second set of 18 that should be 16.
Remember, Roman numeral 2 should be the real number 2, correct?
Yes.
What's that?
No, no. Number 1, sub-item 1, sub-item 2, and then Roman numeral 3 comes out. So I think it's scope of work 1, cemeteries 2,
Three is the midsummer,
yep,
and then Roman numeral 3 becomes 4 and
Right.
goes out.
right,
And then 5, Roman numeral 4 becomes 5, and 5 becomes 6.
and number 2 becomes 7.
And number 2 becomes 7, all out to the edge. And then on number, now Roman 3, gonna be 4, 2.5 goes to 3.5.
Yes.
I have no idea where you guys are.
See, that's what I was trying to figure out too.
Yeah.
So,
We're tracking, yeah, we're tracking, okay.
And then the only other thing I have to add is the insurance information at the very, very end,
Yep.
to include insurance coverage for subcontractors.
Yep. So if you want me to start over, I'd be glad to do it.
Well, I understood now.
No, these guys.
Oh.
Yeah, like I think I'm tracking, but
Okay. Number 1, scope of work, change from 36 to 34. Second paragraph, it's currently lined out 18, moving to 16. That stays 18. The second 18 is the one that becomes 16. Okay? Sub-item number 1, 17 and 18 stay, but go away on sub-item number 2 on the next page.
I think also the midsummer, it should go spring, midsummer, fall, not midsummer, spring, fall.
Okay. Just change the order there. Okay.
You're saying the graves on Rogers Land and graves 17, those should be striked out.
Yes. And then what's currently labeled as Roman numeral 3 will come out and be in line with the rest of the numbers. 3, 4, and 5 will all do that. But on number Roman numeral 3, the Cemetery Advisory Committee was recommending changing it from 2.5 inches to 3.5 inches because 2.5 they thought was too low. It burned the grass.
I'm definitely the last proofreader in this group, but on 13 under number 2 there, Toby spelled one way, and then next to it it's spelled a different way.
Yeah. Good catch.
So the Roman numeral 3, starting with all cemeteries that receive regular mowing. That's gonna become just a regular, that's gonna become number 4?
Yes.
And that's gonna come in line with
Number 1.
number 1. So if that's number 4,
See, that's where I was.
Yes.
okay.
So Roman 1 is gonna be 2. Right? This
I
right
believe
here is
that's
gonna be 2.
correct, yeah,
It's gonna be 2.
Yes.
Roman 1.
yeah.
Flip it over. Roman 2 is gonna be 3.
Okay, so those are not gonna be subpoints under number 1, they're gonna become,
Right.
Okay.
okay.
And then with
But if 1 is scope of work, why wouldn't they be indented?
They could. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I really don't have heartburn one way or the other over that. They get indented underneath, that's fine. If not, less numbers to change. But there are still numbers to change, because Roman numeral currently 3, 4, and 5 are not sub-items under Roman numeral 2, or item number 1.
Right, to me, those should go numbers, but the
Right.
first Roman numeral 1 and 2 could
Those
stay
definitely
Roman
need to
numeral.
be redone as far as numbering. Roman numerals 3, 4, and 5
could be
on
2, 3,
page
and
2.
4.
Could be 2, 3, and 4 is
That's
how I
fine,
would think, yeah.
yeah.
And then 2 becomes 5, not 7.
That's fine too. And then the last thing that the Cemetery Advisory Committee recommended was under subcontractors and assignments on the very last page, the last number, whatever number you want to call it, is that if there is any subcontracting done, that the company that we select is also responsible for ensuring that the subcontractor has insurance. And then Selectman Bloom, on what's currently Roman numeral 2 at the top of page 2, suggested that the order be changed on the spring, midsummer, and fall instead of midsummer, spring, and fall. And item number 13, Selectman Knapp noted that Toby is spelled 2 different ways, so I'm not sure which one the correct is. I think it might be with the Y, but I'm not sure. Or it could be EY and we're all wrong.
Certainly has a Y, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's the list that's Roman numeral 1, the list that's Roman numeral 2. Number 2 has an additional cleanup, but seems to be less cleanup overall. Is that correct? Because number 1 says brush and hedge maintenance throughout the season. There's only a spring and fall cleanup and regular mowing, whereas 2 is spring, midsummer, and fall cleanup, and just mowing at those 3 times.
Yes. So it's not a regular mowing, it's only mowing 3 times.
Great.
So there is a distinct difference between the first set of 18 and the second set of 16 in terms of the frequency of mowing.
Can we just say we'll receive a spring, midsummer, and fall cleanup and mowing?
Sure.
And mowing.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
remove the comma, which shall include.
Okay. Good?
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
All right, one down.
I don't know if anybody wants a colored one of lawn care with the other included that I shared with you before. I think I shared it by email. With the wants of the library and the wants of the, excuse me, Chase Park.
Yeah, I think we did look at this before, and like Chase Park jumped out as, prior to Memorial Day opening. Well, can we be more specific, like we want it done the Thursday before Memorial Day or anything like that to, because otherwise we open on Saturday and they could be mowing on Sunday or Monday. It's done before Memorial Day was over. Could be open to interpretation.
It came exactly to me from Parks and Rec that way. That's why I said some of it's a little quirky to me, how it's written.
And I think we asked whether we own the outside of the fence. So if we own it, we could certainly ask them to do something with it, but if we don't own it, I honestly don't know whether we do or don't. Same thing on number 11.
The school owns the property around the fence, yeah.
So can we or should we be doing stuff on somebody else's property.
I must think the school already does it outside the fence. I'm not sure though.
It'd be a 5-foot perimeter. Rather than a radius. Kind of an odd way to call it out.
Yeah.
Perimeters, what you said, Dave?
Yes, please.
It shows up again on page 3 in that paragraph 7.
Yeah, it's also number 11.
Yeah, I guess it's one of the reruns.
Yeah, so I think we'd previously sent over those questions, at least to you. I don't know if they made them back to Parks. Personally, you know, the library seems what they're asking for is very reasonable, and I think I understand what they're saying. So, I don't know if we can get Parks and Rec to clarify their stuff and,
Anything besides just who owns the property?
like, prior to opening day. Do they want it done by Thursday, or Friday, or the prior Monday? I don't know. Who owns? And I thought that there was one other thing.
I had a note.
Seating, on Chase Park, seating and liming. Is there kind of a definition as to what that area is? You know, is this a 16 by 20 area, or a 200 by 100 area?
Where was that?
Number 6. On page 2.
The sloped area down to the water, I believe, but
Doesn't say that.
100 feet, is it 10 feet, is 50, yeah.
Yeah. I guess it does say, well, it says in compliance with water pollution standards, doesn't say down to the water. And you want that done in sufficient time that it has a chance to take before you open. So is there a timing issue there?
James, are you guys meeting tomorrow night?
yes, we are.
Do you want me to send Denise an email?
Please. If you wouldn't mind copying me on that. too.
What's that?
And if you wouldn't mind copying me too on that. too.
Okay. So I think we need to wait on the municipal lawn care. So if we want to wait on both of them and just send them both out together, I'd be okay with that.
That's a great idea.
I had a note on number 3, under E, where it was before the patriotic celebration. We wanted to put date to be provided.
Yeah, because that changes too.
Under
Yeah.
what number, sorry?
E3, for the patriotic celebration.
So you need a date,
Just date will be provided.
this is be a multi-year contract, so sometimes it's June, sometimes it's July, that's the only thing.
Yeah,
Because it all based on the ride company.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you said we will
we'll
provide.
provide it
Oh,
at
I'm sorry.
the beginning of the year, I guess, or when we set it.
It's the town. Town will
I think we
provide
know
the
this
date.
year's date.
Do we?
We
Good.
do because it's already been booked already.
I don't know. You know, that's not a town thing, so
No, it's not.
I don't know.
Okay. So I'll get these over to Denise and James, and they can have them tomorrow, right?
Thanks, James.
So I'm going to, do you wanna go to IT? I didn't do anything with IT because I thought, you two were gonna try to get together, or James was, okay. Do you have,
I have some information on that.
okay?
So in regards to the email mailboxes, so right now we're paying for 2 gigabyte mailboxes for everybody, accounts. And that costs $2 a month. The next option would be just increase the space in the accounts to 50 gigabytes, and that would cost $4 per month to do that. I did specifically ask about archiving, and there's no real archiving other than just creating more space and keeping everything. Now, if you're using it online, so if you're going to the Microsoft Outlook online, you can go into your account settings and you can see how much usage you have. It tell you you're using 34, megabytes out of your, 1.98 gigabytes, something like that. You can find that under your account settings. If you're using the Outlook app on your computer, there is a way of setting up a local archive, and that's setting up a PST file. And that would mean manually moving your conversations from your regular inbox down into the archive. It then frees up everything that's in your online account, but all your old stuff would be stored locally on that one machine. There is no online archiving available to us. Certainly not in the setup that we have right now. If we wanted something like that, I think it'd be a whole lot more expensive. So,
Can enlighten you on some of that stuff. So,
could you come to the
Sure.
podium?
so I'm your IT guy, I'm Doug Poirier. I recently moved to the town, so I'm also a citizen. So in terms of using PST files, Microsoft is getting away from that. So as they upgrade the newest version of Outlook, PST files will not be easily available to users. We can PST them from the server directly, but it takes extra time and labor to do that. In terms of archiving, we have a product available that'll do that per mailbox. So if you want to retain certain information for certain users, we can do that. They can't delete it. It retains everything that hits the mailbox as long as it's active. And we can make it searchable. It has a search function so that anyone can go in and search whether it's one mailbox or all the mailboxes that you choose to do. And you don't have to do everyone's mailbox. You can do one at a time.
Or 5 at a time.
Or 5, yeah, exactly, if you wanted to do yours. And I think you're right about upgrading to Exchange Online Plan 1 for the 50 gigs. Your mail filter alone is $4, and you're paying $2 for kiosk. And having Exchange Online Plan 1 also makes it available on computers, not just your cell phone and on the web. So you have a little bit more flexibility.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you have any other questions while you got me?
I don't specifically at the moment.
I know you guys are working on the IT RFP as well. You probably want endpoints, number of endpoints, and number of servers, and number of VMs. I have a template for an RFP I can send to you as well, so that way you can get apples to apples. Whatever information you need, you can just reach out to us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks.
So I was not necessarily going to recommend the PST files, but that is an option. And I'm not sure what our archiving requirements are, for us, how much, if we have to keep anything for a particular period of time, or,
I'd have to look at the RSA for retention, that's the
Yeah.
thing.
I think we do have some.
So with that being said, the IT sample of the RFP that they send, because we do have a sample one that we put out before. So
You can compare
mix
them.
the two together, compare the two, is that what you're looking to do?
Sure. Might as well take advantage of it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that one's not ready. last one is the cleaning one. Again, I'll send you out, I took last year's. I used last year's, one thing, ours appears okay. What I'd like to do is, Jason would like to change the public work one around. It's on, if you look at it, it's on page 5. Everything else, was gonna stay the same. The only one that was Jason wanted to have, it was broken down to every other day maintenance and weekly maintenance, and what we're gonna do is drop every other day and do weekly, so it would all be weekly versus having a group and then every other day and then having a group for weekly, so the entire list would go to weekly. Everything else is the same as far as what we have there. Police department has, the same cleaning company, but I think he's in a different rotation. Would you like me to have him included, because he is somebody else? We haven't used him before in this RFP. This is the town hall, DPW in the town office.
I would think if it saves us money to bundle all these things, we might want to consider
I
that.
don't know how long his is,
Right.
but I think we.
Well, we might be able to modify what he has, if that's the chosen path.
I think it makes it easier for us all to be inclusive,
I would think so.
so I'll extend it to the PD,
Okay.
because I really would like to add it, and then it would all be the same for the building. So, this is an outline, but again, I don't know, I'll share the two more and see what it looks like, because I don't know what his requirements are.
Not to-
And I don't see fire anywhere.
I don't know what fire, it's my understanding that the fire department, I'll say take care of their side as kind of station duties when they were there. But I can certainly ask them, because I know.
I'm not suggesting if we can get something for free that we should pay for it, but,
Well, I
but
know-
if they're already using a different service, then we should bundle
No,
it.
they're using their service, the employees themselves, and then they did rent I think a buffer, and they took and removed all the stuff and did all the floors on their side. As again, during downtime or station chores, I don't know what to call it. So that's what the fire department did.
I think they'd get, I noticed, that- just looking on Public Works, but I'm sure they all say the same thing, but the supplies will be provided by the contractor. Probably a small amount, but wouldn't that be like, I would think, we always bought stuff in cases, I think it'd be a lot cheaper. I'm sure they're gonna upcharge it, right?
We supply paper calico, paper hands, trash liners.
Well, it says town supplies, yep.
All others-
Consumables will be, yep,
All others, like if they use different cleaners.
yep, my bad, it's a,
Because we do buy everything else.
yep, I thought so. I didn't read it clear and slow enough.
Do you want to just verify that the fire department's doing what I first issued?
Yeah.
On the very last page, it says the undersigned acknowledges, item number 2, the firm submitting this proposal has never defaulted on any City of Concord, State of New Hampshire federal government contract.
Yes, we use someone else's form.
It'd be nice to know if they default.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you
Any
only care
contract?
about contracts, you might wanna open that up. If you only care about Concord, leave it as is. And we still have an active fax machine?
We do upstairs.
Wow.
Doesn't get much but junk a lot of times. Actually, I shouldn't say that. The veterinarians send us over release stickers all the time. We're the only ones that use it. That and the advertisements or something.
Challenge accepted.
So we'll ask the fire department what they do and ask the PD, also to include it if he wants to be included, or what his deal is.
Anything else on those? Do we want to talk about the mailbox changes, or do we need to do anything there? Do you recommend anything?
I don't have a particular recommendation, other than to go through, it's easy enough to clean up junk, you know, that we're getting from all kinds of different places, trying to sell me on new websites and things. That's easy enough. I don't know what everybody else is getting for mail, but it wouldn't be too expensive to just bump up everybody's, you know, email plan.
What's
One-
crazy about mine was, when it filled up and said that I was full, couldn't receive no more, I had to delete everything before it would go again. You know, I deleted like
And you probably
everything
have,
that was junk, and it still didn't, and I went through and did other things that, you know, not, you know, like payroll that probably was all set, we've already signed it and paid it, so I deleted those, and I went, I finally had to do everything, it wouldn't go.
yeah, and you probably have to delete, you know, empty out your deleted folder.
Yeah.
To make sure all of that was empty too.
Yeah,
I would just assume-
one at a time, by the way.
At least for us five.
Yeah.
The-
And then maybe as needed for like long tenured,
Board members of other
yeah,
boards.
right, as they use these town emails that are just getting ramped up.
I believe one thing to keep in mind is that it's easy to go up, but not so easy to go back. You have to go through, I believe, and delete the account and add it back in again. My understanding, but I could be wrong.
Well,
So,
I could.
I can answer that. So you have to change the subscription.
Okay.
So the account stays there, but you change the subscription, but you do have to move out the emails before you reduce the account. And you can go above 50 gigs as well. You can expand it up to 100. There's a plan where you can get up to 200 gigs for email as well.
Thank you.
If 50 is the minimum of that tier.
50 is Exchange Online Plan 1, and then you can add what's called an archive folder. And that archive folder can grow up to 150 gigs if you have the right plan, and there's different tiers, and they cost different amounts. You can add archiving twice to get it up to 100, so you can have 150. The main mailbox will remain 50 gigs, and the archive grows to 150. And I think it's Exchange plan, I think it's E1 or E2 that allows you, it's the enterprise plan that allows you to go up to 250 gigs, 200 in the archive. And those are different prices. I don't have, each archive is $4 more a month. The Exchange, the E1 and the E2, I don't know the price off the top of my head. I want to say it's $28 a month. And it comes with other security as well.
I think if we could move from the low tier we're at now to that first, you said the Exchange one, right?
Yep.
And that's 50 gig at $4
Yep.
total, or $4 more than what we're paying?
$4 total. Yeah, you just do it as you need it, because you can just add space as you go. But he's right, it's difficult to go backwards because you have to remove emails. You have to delete them, yeah.
And I guess, what about like as the boards rotate? So we have roughly a set number of people, but you may have somebody who has a very full mailbox drop off and somebody new start up.
So typically what we do now is we do PST them, and we use Outlook to do it, just like you were suggesting before, but Microsoft is changing that. But we can PST directly from Office 365 and download a mailbox. So if one of you leaves and we need to save that, we download it. And right now our archiving program is just to put it on the server where it's backed up, right? And so it stays there. So if we need it, we have to open it again. The other way to do it is to use another program. There are several programs out there. There's some that are pretty cheap, and they're unlimited in their archiving. So it's one price. I think we're paying, was it $6 a month for your archive that we did for you?
that sounds familiar.
I think that's right, but it's flat and it's unlimited, and it also backs up all of the Office 365 stuff. So anything people have in their OneDrive is also backed up. So there are ways of doing it, but the thing to really remember is that it's in perpetuity. Is if you want to hold, say, your email forever, you're going to be paying that forever.
So that was my next question. If we need to look up the actual RSA, but if the RSA, for instance, says 1 year of retention, so
Correct.
somebody leaves a board, hang on to their emails for 1 year, and then ditch it, is that something that you would be able to keep track of for us and say like, I'm about to delete this unless you tell me not to, or is that something we need to keep
So
track of?
we could do that. I would say that the easiest way to do it is to have a reminder and have you guys issue it. We do not like to delete things, period, because there's responsibility there. And so we can say, we could have someone's word to go do it, or even in an email, but people tend to forget. So we like people to delete their own stuff whenever possible. But in this regard, if we're using a third party to archive, it would need to be us. And generally what you do is you cancel the account, and then if you don't try to retrieve it within 30 days, it's gone.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. And there are different rules for retention. Welfare has to hold their stuff forever, for instance, and they have different rules. But there are state rules, and there are a lot of rules for retention which you guys have to create. I can find guidance on that for you. We have it. We can get that for you. And you really should establish how long departments hold stuff for, because if anything happens, like if you say, look, it's only 1 year, and you held it for a year and it's gone, you're not in trouble. If something comes up and you don't have guidance on it and it's missing, now you're in a little bit of legal limbo, and you're going to have an attorney involved. Something to think about.
Do we have a standard process as people leave to delete their email boxes from boards?
Actually, when someone leaves, when the employees left, I had them point it at me just so like, Katie's, Tony's, they point at me for a while until I know it's somebody else is gonna pick it up, or they've realized she's not here or he's not here. But I don't delete anything, I send them an email. and
No,
ask-
like the boards, we've had 2 resignations on ethics. They had email addresses,
I
those-
emailed Nick and asked him to
so we do
stop
that.
it, but I didn't point it anywhere.
Well, yeah.
You know, don't delete it, but, you know what I mean, kind of.
So on that, so that's actually easy to do too. We can always redirect with an alias. That doesn't cost anything. So when someone leaves, there's no mailbox, but we can create an alias and have it delivered to somebody else. So that's pretty easy, and that is what we did for her. When she says she doesn't want it, it's gone. When she needs it, like if it's a former employee, it gets redirected to someone else. Usually her or whoever takes up that position.
And that certainly makes sense for the town employees. I'm not sure if that makes
You
sense
guys,
for boards and whatnot.
I've actually just had it, I don't wanna say shut off, but is there a message that goes to someone when they email someone that
No.
doesn't have an email? Cause I didn't forward anybody's that left.
They'll get an error message saying that user no longer exists. You can be set up so it goes into the ether so nothing happens. If you leave the mailbox intact, then we can set up an auto reply to say that they're no longer a member. You can do the auto reply and still have it forward to somebody else. I can see where, it's really a decision the board has to make, but I can see where it's more useful just to have it not there anymore, unless you determine differently, right? Because then there's no ambiguity, or I'm always thinking things from a legal perspective, right? Because if someone is getting it and something comes through, now you have to answer it. And if someone gets a bounce back, they'll call, right?
Yeah, so I don't know how you set up the
10
other,
o'clock.
the ones that are no longer here.
The board members, I can check with Nick, I have to look, but I believe that when they're no longer here, we archive their emails and we just delete the account.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna move to the 50 gig, is that what I want for you guys?
I think we should.
Yeah, I mean, $10. I don't have my wallet, but otherwise I'd pop it on the table.
Yeah.
End of your purchase, right?
Oh, boy.
You guys are so funny. Do we need a motion to change that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Unanimous decision made. Okay.
So as far as the RFP, we'll wait to get Doug's, and then we'll compare the two.
Okay.
Perfect.
We had two items on the consent agenda. We had an abatement, number 2023L, tax map 412-245-61, the amount of $208.16. This involves a camper. We've talked about campers in the past where if the camper is removed, we don't necessarily know about it until April comes around and the camp is open. So that's the rationale behind that one. And there was one intent to cut, number 24-471-13T, and that covers tax map 407018. So FYI to everybody on those. And that brings us to manifests.
Yeah, I gotta get it.
Thank you.
Yep, sorry.
I'd like to motion to order the treasurer to sign the payroll and accounts payables checks dated November 21, 2024, as included in the following manifests. Payroll manifest, $92,746.77. Accounts payable manifest, $114,801.28. Where school accounts payable, $250,000. John Stark accounts payable manifest, $250,000, for a total of $707,548.05. And we did not meet last week, so there was a previously ordered to sign at the November 4th meeting, payroll amount of $90,964. Wait, let me start over on that one. Payroll manifest, $90,646.84. And accounts payable manifest, $95,379.71. Is there a second?
Second.
I think I heard Mr. Drury by a fraction of a second sooner, so all in favor, say yes or yay? Yes?
Yes.
Passes 4-0.
We do have minutes, they were late. I did, what was it?
Yeah.
The 30th and the 4th, and I've almost got 7th. Well, 7th I think I sent you to. 7th is out. 21 and 28 are not done. We did get 5,000 tax bills in the mail though. So I tried to get 5 done. I couldn't commit, but,
Yeah, what, 3 or 4 of the 5?
what's that?
Yeah, 3 or 4 of them done, right?
I did the 30th, the 7th, and the 4th. I still have 21 and 28.
Okay.
21's half done.
We'll have those tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow I'm not here, I'm sorry.
Wednesday.
By Thursday probably.
Okay, by Thursday. Locking that one in, okay.
End
Before,
of day Thursday, can I clarify?
you should clarify, yes.
Got it.
Okay. Before we get into whether or not you want to look at the minutes, since they all just came out today, I'd like to talk about hiring a minute taker. Would anybody else like to talk about that?
I was not present for the non-public where that was discussed, so.
Okay. We did interview a person for the position, and she seemed to me to be very capable, so.
She seemed on the ball and
Yeah.
willing to get down and do it. She's got experience, taking minutes and notes and meeting information, so, and she lives in town.
Yeah.
It's another benefit.
And did express interest in being here in person, not just watching online.
Yeah. Yeah.
See how long that lasts?
Well, she said at least for a couple times she'd show up, and then if needed.
She figured it was a good way to keep her involved in the town ongoings.
Yeah. Okay. So we didn't talk to her about a specific start date. Did you, Naomi?
I did not, because you're gonna have to, she's gonna fill out the paperwork first.
Okay,
You have to meet all of the onboarding paperwork first.
okay. And did we talk to her about any retroactive work, or you're gonna do all that?
I'll talk with her about retroactive work.
Okay.
I was gonna finish it, but,
Yeah, no, I like that plan better.
okay. I know, Thursday.
Thursday by close of business. And this is a stipend, not an hourly.
Absolutely.
So is there a monthly amount?
The advertisement, which we applied for, says there's a monthly stipend of $1,008 and no benefits.
I guess if you could, whenever this hire is made, if you could alert all the boards and whatnot, this has been done, and we will be, whichever boards this applies to, will be picking it up as of this date, and remind them that they are on the hook for whatever gap exists.
And I'm not sure if I asked this or not. If I didn't, I apologize. If I did, I apologize, rather. Any probationary period? Any, like, 60-day trial or anything like that? 90 days?
We didn't with the last one. I don't know if that's right or wrong.
Yeah.
Probably should be something.
We normally do 6 months for employees, of this thing, 60 to 90 days, that's several cycles of minutes.
Yeah.
At least from our board, so we would know within 60 days if it's not working out.
I'd be comfortable at 60.
And who is our supervisor? Is it you, Naomi?
Yes. Remember, we're related, so I just want that to know.
Well, I was gonna mention that, yeah. Very distantly,
We are.
okay. All right,
Like half the town now.
This
Are you
is-
related to like half the town?
Yeah, this one's not by marriage, though. This one's from my mom's side.
okay.
They just found out tonight, too.
I would believe it if she hadn't said it.
All right. So she has not filled out the paperwork, so we don't know that she's good to go, so that would be a pending condition.
It would be, yes.
Okay, all right. All right, I will accept a motion to hire a minute taker, named Carrie Goodwin for a $1,008 monthly stipend with a start date TBD, a probationary period of 60 days, reporting to Naomi T.A. Bolton. And this is all pending affirmative completion and results of hiring paperwork. Anyone to move that or second that?
So moved.
So second.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I'm gonna abstain, but it sounds like it went well, and I'm excited that it sounded like it went well.
Good. All right, all in favor say yes or yea? Yes?
Yes.
And you abstain? And anyone opposed? Okay. Motion passes 301. And just a reminder to also notify the other boards as Selectman Bloom has asked. Okay. All right. I think we also need a motion on the fire issue. Correct?
Yes.
And I was also not present for that.
Yeah, see what I wrote? Motion is made.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought we did it and we just need to redo it in public. So, do you have it written?
Kind of scratched in here, but it says, do you want me to read it? We move to adjust Captain Hood's wage from step 3 to step 5, which makes her $30.64, which is the RTM line, effective 11/22/24.
Okay, and who made that motion?
Selectman Pratt and Selectman Drury second.
Okay, would you gentlemen like to publicly do the same?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, all right, so it's been moved and seconded, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes or yay. Yes?
Yes.
I will note for the record that Selectman Knapp also voted affirmatively when we were in non-public, but just as an FYI. So motion passes in public session 300, and one abstained, so 301. 301. I think that catches us up to, now we can talk about whether or not you guys have a chance to review the minutes.
Just 23, 24.
Yeah, I honestly haven't gotten through more than one page in one of them, so I'm very, very happy that they're out. So, well, but we're getting there,
Hours away.
so, all right. Is everybody okay tabling these till next week?
Yep.
All right, all right. We didn't have anything on the agenda as far as committee items, so if you would indulge me before we get to the administrator's report. Maybe these are on your list or not, but Planning Board did talk about the engineering award, engineering RFP award. You want to touch on that?
Yep, they all said Keach is great, no edits needed. So, and then a motion was made to that effect, so we're good to go on that. Engineering is
Okay.
So now I can notify everybody.
Yep. Execute the contract, notify all departments, please. And then I think Conservation also had a list of things they needed from us.
Yes.
And while you're digging for that, remind everybody, please, I know you're in the room a lot, Naomi, turn on your microphones and talk into your microphones. It's very, very difficult to hear some folks when you're on the video, because they're talking back here, or it's not on, and even when you're in the back of the room, they can probably hear you, but we can't at home. So please make sure you're talking into microphones. I don't know if we need to put a reminder on the board or something, some sticky here.
Having listened to the last 3 sets of minutes, I realized that I don't speak loud enough either, so why do you think I'm closer tonight?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I got feedback, because I was sitting there for the planning meeting. I was sitting like this, and I was told that I couldn't be heard. So it may be that microphone.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure we can test them. Turn them all off and
Okay.
let's do it now. Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
Please save me.
So yes, there are actually 3 things to bring forth from the Conservation Commission. Start with the first, was permit to trap from a Mr. Glenn Dubois from Dunbarton. He's asking to trap at the old Wood Family Forest. He's been trapping there since before the town purchased that property, and he's previously made this request with the town. Conservation Commission has made a list of stipulations that are in the accompanying agreement, and the commission voted unanimously to allow the town to sign. So I would just like to make a motion to sign the New Hampshire Fish and Game Permit to trap and the Ware Conservation Agreement with Glenn Dubois, 32 Everett Dam Road, Dunbarton, New Hampshire.
Before I move that, is it everybody signs it or just one person?
The agreement has the Board of Selectmen.
Okay, thank you. I would move that.
And it looks like the Conservation Commission will have to sign this afterwards, but yes. And one signature on the trapping permit.
Oh, okay. Well, then I retract my moving because I'm probably the one who has to sign it.
I'm sorry, did you say what?
I had moved it, but
Yep.
because I thought it was everybody signed it, and
Yep.
I now am retracting that because I'm probably the one that has to sign
Okay.
that page.
Very
So,
good.
does anybody want to move that?
Yes.
Second?
Second.
Okay. It was moved by Bloom and seconded by Drury. And then I think you want to add on there for me to sign that shape, the actual, that,
Authorize the chair to sign.
authorize the chair to sign.
Add on to the motion? Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying? Yes.
Yes.
And add to that motion to have the chair, Chair Matthews, sign the permit to trap.
I'll move that.
Move the amendment, second the
Second.
amendment, okay, all right. Any further discussion? All in favor say yes or yea?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed? I'll abstain. Passes 301. Ready?
Does that go back?
I'm sorry?
Does that go back to
Yeah,
conservation?
the agreement's got to be signed by them.
Okay.
Move to the next. So there was also a discussion regarding the field inspection report at the Poor Tree Farm. The report placed the forest from a full certification to a pioneer status because of the expired management plan. This is a result of the RFP process for a forester eliminating extended work on management plans and a legal issue of an unresolved adverse possession claim. The commission would like to move forward with the legal review, but the town attorney has been updated after the most recent RFP award. Chair Fulton has sent a request to be allowed permission to contact legal regarding the adverse possession claim. And there's also some compiled documentation that may need to be sent to legal as well. No, do we have to make a motion to allow Chair Fulton to,
The chair can just, our chair.
or
can
just
authorize
approve?
that.
Yeah, I think we need to put this on our list of things to clarify, because item number 2 leads me to believe that we all need to talk about it. And then if we can't, and if something needs to happen before we get together again, then I can do it. So I think we need to talk about it. Doesn't say we have to motion, but it just says, well, it does say voted by a majority.
Well, really,
So-
that second paragraph sounds like they don't even need to come to us.
Yeah, but I think what they do is what we want. So I really think this needs to be updated, but in the abundance of caution, let's make a motion.
All right. So I'll make a motion to give permission to the chair and/or vice chair of the Conservative Commission to contact the current town attorney, Drummond Woodsum, to discuss the issue of an adverse possession claim brought forth by Mr. Steve Caggiano, which was previously discussed with Mitchell Municipal, in an effort to reestablish a path forward to resolve the issue.
So moved. Anyone like to second?
Second. To be pedantic, Conservation Commission.
I'm sorry?
You had read out Conservative Commission.
Oh, I'm sorry, Conservation Commission.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say yes or yea. Yes?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Passes 400.
Do I just let
Yep,
Andy know that?
yeah.
Or
I-
did he email you, or?
He did send an email. I can respond to his email.
Okay.
Thank you. Was there a third one?
Yes, so the Conservation Commission reviewed a request to return a performance bond to town's logging for a logging effort that utilized temporary access agreement through town lands on map 201, lot 3501, and map 402, 3205. Dalton Mountain Forestry completed their inspection and found all conditions to be suitable to the agreement. The commission chair stated that he would characterize the area as left in really good shape. The commission voted unanimously to recommend to the finance administrator and BOS to release the bond for Eastman Town Forest access. So I'd like to make a motion that the Board of Selectmen release the performance bond to Town's Logging for the completion of work of the temporary access of Eastman Town Forest per the document dated 10/17/24 from Dalton Mountain Forestry and upon the unanimous recommendation of the Conservation Commission.
Okay. Okay. Moved by Selectman Pratt, seconded by Selectman Bloom. Any further discussion to release the bond? Hearing none, all in favor say yes or yay? Yes? Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Motion passes 4-0-0. So you can let Finance Director know? Is that how that works?
Well, yeah, Andy had sent an email
Okay.
to her.
Okay.
so that It'll make probably next round.
Okay, all right. Anything else on conservation?
There were a couple items.
Okay.
You know, you may want to hear about. So we did have a request from a resident, Ray Tobin. He's with a couple of different associations, the American Mountain Men Organization and New Hampshire Trappers Association. They came looking for permission to have a little camping expedition in a Category 1 fire on town land in the late fall or winter on Toby Hill. They're expecting to have a group of 5, and they plan on doing some hunting and camping out for a 2 to 4 day period. The commission had him, is having him work with the fire chief and town administrator Bolton. And they'll most likely give permission after a date, location, and permit are approved.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah. You know, Ray seemed pretty excited, so. Also, there was some discussion about the Barden property. There's a well that needs to be capped. The commission decided that some of the individuals from the commission could take a field trip out to the site, take a look at the subject well, determine what the scope of work is going to be. Vice Chair Stephen Jarr has been in contact with Director Fisk. They'll continue to be after the assessment of the well to make sure that these actions get completed.
Good.
And lastly, the Forester RFP was discussed for finalization. Final draft was sent to T.A. Bolton, and she in turn posted that. The expectation is to open those bids on 12/11 and award in January.
Very good. Okay, I think that takes us to the administrator's report, if no one else has anything else under committee items.
I mentioned something else from planning, just public
sure.
awareness. As most folks are aware, the warrant comes from multiple places. One of them is the planning board offering up zoning amendments. That process does not involve town meeting, and that is 2 public hearings. So there are a couple of potential amendments being worked on right now. We're going to discuss those at the planning board on December 12th and decide what moves forward. Then the formal first public hearing will be at the January 9th planning board meeting. And then the second public hearing will be on January 23rd, just so folks are aware that may be interested in attending that process. January 9th and the 23rd.
Okay. Anything else? Anything else from you?
Nope.
Okay. All right, take it away.
The collective bargaining, I got back yesterday afternoon with signatures from the, union on there,
Wanna
so
sign this one
if we sign the contract, Janice, then, I'll scan it and send them a copy and send it to the PDLRB for filing. I do have an amended cemetery deed. So one deed for two persons, same person. So, we have to make an amended deed to replace the prior one. They've already been notified. They've been notified that they purchased the same lot someone else did. So that's to amend and rescind the one that was recorded for the wrong lot. So we sold him the lot next door instead of a lot above him.
So this does both actions, or just, there's
Yes,
gonna be two things to sign?
No, I can just, I can take and record that, and it says on there that
Okay.
it's gonna supersede. So the note taker we took care of this evening, finalized CBA. I did send you also a email regarding the trust funds overages and training. Did you guys see that one? I sent it to, came from Linda Viella. I thought I printed it, I'm gonna have to follow along here, sorry. There's an overage from back, not when any of you were here. So what she asked of us is, so there's two accounts that have a negative balance. And she said in order to correct the situation by 12/31/24, a request from the BOS needs to be made to the trustees of the trust fund to move the required funds from the other trusts within section 3 to cover the negative balance. The amount required is $3,678.08, and the two accounts that have negative balances are Arthur D. Bailey for $354.41 and Ruth Woodbury for $3,323.67. Attached to your email that I forwarded you, there was an MS9 which highlighted the two accounts. So we need to make that motion so that they could move that money. And
Do we have any idea, first of all, why there's a shortage in the accounts? And number two is, why is it 9 years later and we're finally getting around to fixing it?
Very good points, and I don't, I don't know the answer. It's under the Cypre perpetual care, cannot have a negative balance. They have two, I don't know how they did that. Due to disbursements made in 2015 that resulted in the accounts going into the negative. So, back in 2015, the trustees of the trust fund agreed to pay things and overdrew the account, which you can't do.
Mm-hmm.
Bills still got paid. So,
So they had to take the money from somewhere, so in order for us to fix it, we need to know what they want it to come from. Is that correct?
it just said, in order to correct the situation, a request from the BOS needs to be made to the trustees to move the required funds from the other trusts within section 3 to cover the negative balances.
So they just, like, take a proportional amount off of everything in number 3, or, just sounds a little loose.
Okay, so we are meeting next week, and they don't meet until December, because we'll have to get that to them for their December meeting.
Yeah. I personally feel better if we know we want it to come from here to here.
Okay,
Anybody object? Okay.
so we want more information.
Just more definitive from and to. Or from, I guess, is the part that's lacking.
And then the other part is they want to, related to training, and what we were gonna do is have Terry Knowles and the selectmen attend attend the training regarding the trust funds, but it was gonna be after deliberative session, and that was okay with them.
I think it's great, and if we can attend, or, if your schedule allows it when it gets set up, or if we can try and do that, but, I'd say it's optional, but
Okay.
more training the better,
Yep.
for me personally.
So,
If it's gonna be after deliberative, then does it make more sense to do it after the new board is seated?
yeah, it didn't matter, I just said
Yeah.
after deliberative because you guys are tied up with everything from now till then.
Just thinking if we're delaying that long, then a, 1 month delay?
Yeah.
Another month.
It just need to be scheduled with Terry Knowles, she's offered to do it like she did with the trustees. Excuse me. I did get an email, we do have email addresses for the PB zoning, energy, and the One Park member. I will distribute all those, and they have to go about setting their own up and changing their passwords, but we do have them. And then they also are grouped, so they'll each have a wherenh.gov, and then they will be grouped in the, like, so you could go zoning at wherenh.gov. You can go planning board, you can go energy, you can do park, just like, so they're all gonna be included individually, but in the group too.
Are those gonna be loaded to the website?
They will be, yeah.
Can we go back to the last one?
Sure.
So did we also want to know why it took so long?
I don't know
Do
that
we-
the
do we
trustees are
want-
there and know that, but, I mean, because this is new.
Yeah.
I can ask them if you're,
It would just,
If they have any
an
information.
answer, it'd be,
Yeah.
do you want to know why it happened?
Yep.
And how it come so long?
yes.
Sure. This town is really important dates. Excuse me.
So while you're talking about dates, I would like to, either next meeting or the meeting after, at the latest, what's our year-end schedule gonna look like for this meeting?
Oh, okay, I don't have it broken down
Yeah.
by the dates, okay.
Because I think last year we took maybe the first Monday of the January off, but we met one time between Christmas and New Year's.
Right, so
Something like that.
Christmas is
Yeah.
Wednesday this year, so Monday's 23rd, and then the 30th. Christmas Eve is the next night, so I'll put together what we have
Okay.
and see what we want to do. And also, we're going to, when Beth comes in to finalize with us, we'll have an idea of what you've got for the rest of anticipated balance left at the end of the year. We'll keep that going.
Yeah, and I'd like to get a definitive answer on what, if any, is left in the ARPA funds as well.
I should be here next week too, because next week we're gonna do, park and fire.
Okay. Can she answer ARPA next week?
Yeah, I can do that next week. I think I sent you the building permits early, as soon as I got them, I flipped them around to you. I did, I haven't got all the answers yet, and I'll put them together. There was, some towns do put on the building permits, but they pull it actually out of their software. There was some information that some towns, how do I wanna say it, they don't put your name down or your street address or something like that, because their fear was if you get this big load of material delivered to your property, you're putting out there that you got a building permit for this big garage, and you could go and have it gone the next time. So there was a little bit of reluctancy for a lot of places. There are some out there, I'm not gonna say there's not, but it came from their software, building permit issued software, and I don't know what we have to offer, which I can ask Mary Ann or Steve, because we do have software for building permits, but So it's not, I mean, I'll keep you posted, but it didn't come through like, yeah, we do it from everybody, you know,
Yeah.
it's reluctant.
Well, I think it's worth talking about, once you
Okay.
gather the rest of the information and figure out if we wanna start posting something.
Yeah.
I'd personally like to get to the point, I think I might have said this before, where every department is posting metrics online.
Article 24 and 26, I've sent everything over, but I did get a reply back. She's on medical leave for 2 months, so I don't know if it got handed off or not handed off. I didn't get a reply back.
But you've asked the question.
I did.
Okay.
It's been, you know, someone's supposed to be taking her place for now, for the next 2 months, but I don't know if that means, did he have that too? Which I could include him in the email.
Mhm. And can we also ask, Deedle for an update on Grace? Just seems like we haven't heard anything in a long time. And just seems kinda strange.
Tree work, I heard you ask Jason to call you.
Yeah, there's still the email that I sent on September 17th, I think, that had some other questions in it. You know, Jason and I need to go remark the trees, but there were other questions in that
That you
email.
sent to me?
Yes,
There was an email to me?
yes.
It's not on here, but I do have good news. So the building inspector, I have had some people, you do see the signs up. So I've had some people inquire. I actually had somebody drop off an application late tonight, I didn't open the envelope. And then there was a phone call and an email from 2 previous ones that we had looked at and passed by, but we can discuss that. But on another note, next Monday, we have a person coming in Wednesday morning at 7 to meet with myself, Beth, and Mary Ann about the land use administrator job.
Very good.
Previous land use manager for another town, it's been a while, and then moved to another job where she's been all along, but she wants out of that to go back to land use. She lives here in town, so I'm hoping it's promising, but I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed on that one. But we are getting some interest, which is kinda nice on the building inspector one now. Maybe we'll move it around somewhere else. I honestly don't have much, because I was trying to get your minutes done along with the tax bills this week, so. I did add impact fees under River Road Bridge, so we don't lose it.
Okay. Thank you.
I believe that's all I have. There's one under correspondence, I think I shared with you, the response from NHMA.
Yeah,
In regards to, wasn't quite exactly what.
yeah, they didn't really answer the questions, so I'm gonna shut this window. Unless anyone objects.
No.
I have to make a motion.
That'd be nice. The heat was coming back on.
Thermostat's in the other room, so.
I know, but I could
I
hear it.
can go shut it off.
I could hear it. It kinda drives me nuts to pay to heat the building and then leave the window open. Kinda goes against my conservative principles. Sorry.
We can make sure to turn off the thermostat next Monday.
Okay.
At noontime.
So we were talking about the NHMA, and they didn't really answer all the questions. They certainly provided good input, which is input that the chief had also given us. And for those following at home, along at home, we're talking about South Sugar Hill parking. So, did y'all have a chance to look at it? What do you
I
think?
did ship it back to the planning board, because in my heart, I knew the planning board should be looking at it, which is what he said.
Yeah, right now I'm specifically just asking about, we asked
Yeah.
specific questions and they weren't answered by NHMA. Do we want
And
to
I
send those
didn't
over to
want-
legal? I guess is my first
Yeah,
part of the
And I
question.
didn't want to get into the whole case by case, because you were looking for a general. And then when he called me and I said, we're looking more general, but do you want the site plan? And it didn't, it circled around
Yeah.
this general. And I do need a general because there's a lot of places.
Yeah, but I think we were asking things like, what is the responsibility of the board? What's the responsibility of the planning department?
Yeah, the obligations of the
Yeah.
selectmen building and code enforcement in the event of a large site plan. What's the town all be doing, what's town ought to be doing?
Yeah,
That was it. Do I forward it to council?
that's what I'm asking. There it is.
I think that's something we need to know the answer to.
Yeah.
And reading it again, 1 and 2 are kind of the same question.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Questions 1 and 2 are kind of the same as written, and
Yep.
I wonder if it's supposed to be, what are we obligated to do with an allegation? And if we have to follow through, well, I don't know, maybe just scratch 2 and they can answer the way they want to answer.
Answer 1 and 3.
Yeah. That's what you were suggesting?
Yes.
1 and 3, strike number 2.
Correct.
Okay. Any other input?
No, because I think the information was good, but we've already had it.
So, given that it has been sent over to the planning department, do
This
we,
is an FYI.
yeah, do we want to ask the planning department to do anything with it, or wait until we get this response back from legal, which is where we were before?
I would go so far as to make sure they know we don't want them to do anything.
Okay. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
All right. And once we get updated information, we'll circle back with them, obviously. Okay.
Would you, since I have my email open and it's zoning related, could I interject a correspondence?
Certainly.
I received this afternoon. I honestly haven't read it. I was kind of flat out all afternoon. I get some of these sometimes. I think mine might be the only email address under planning for the time being. And this gentleman says, "Good afternoon. I'm looking for clarification about your commercial zoning ordinance." And then he quotes 24.3 permitted uses. Residential homes are not permitted uses in commercial zone. Clarified/amended 3/9/2021. And then 24.3.1, any use permitted in the residential and rural agricultural districts. That's what he quoted, and he says, is this to say that anything under the R and RA designation can be built on commercially zoned land other than residential homes? And a follow-up is, if cluster housing developments fall under residential housing. I appreciate any help you can provide, thank you so much for your time. Like I say, I haven't even parsed it. My first course of action was to read it here, see what this board thought about, whether I should respond, whether my preference is to ask the town administrator. I can just forward it to the town administrator to respond.
Yeah, I mean, years ago when they put in that one part of residential homes, they didn't want the residential homes eating up any chance of commercial or industrial, so they plunked in that residential homes. I will agree that when you go to 24.3.1, it says anything allowed in RRA you can do in the commercial, kind of, right? Except for build a home. That's how the intent was at that time, was they didn't want residential homes taking up any commercial, or, because if you, years ago down towards the high school, all of that, land was industrial, because it was right on 114. And all those homes went and got a variance to build a home, because it wasn't allowed. So because industrial and commercial wasn't coming here, so they were using it up to build homes. And then it was like, hey, what if, years from now, something comes through, like we heard the other night. Somebody comes through on 114 with a commercial venture, there's nothing. Or then you've got your abutters, rights of your abutters and the noise and everything else. So I will admit, it's not written perfectly, but the intent was not to put any more homes there. But if you had a home and you wanted to do a commercial business, it's allowed R and RA. So if your home was there in the 50s, and you want to add a commercial building out back and do something, as long as it's allowed the R and the RA, you could, you just can't build another residence.
So I would say that I think your course of action is good. Send it over to Naomi and the zoning
Yeah, I
board
mean, that explanation, and,
and ask them to reply.
yeah, what do you mean, ask,
Ask her to reply.
okay, you said, send it.
Well, I think that you should, FYI, the zoning board, they need to understand that people are asking questions about it,
Okay,
but ask Naomi to reply.
Planning board could fix it in the amendment. They
Yeah,
could
I'm
fix
sorry,
it.
I said zoning, I meant planning.
The planning board are the one that should fix the amendment. I'll be happy to reply if you forward it to me.
okay, thank you, I will do that.
No, I'm sorry, I said zoning, I meant planning.
It's funny, I knew what you meant.
Sorry,
It's getting late.
again. Okay. Where were we?
Is that me, Linda?
I had other correspondence. There was a member of the Ethics Committee resigned. That was in my inbox under correspondence, and I shared that with all you. And that's it. Set the agenda for 11:25.
So at 6:30, I was gonna do the non-public to interview potential land use administrator. I don't like to do just 15 minutes, because we seem to run over.
Mhm.
So I gave 30 and started at 7. Pledge allegiance, public comment. And then under department head items, I knew, update on John Corner, but I didn't hear your second part, you said.
The revolving fund.
Revolving. So under department heads, Jason will be coming back for update of John Connor and the revolving fund. I lumped under cemetery trees. I'm hoping that you guys could get together this week and get that resolved. Then I have 2025 budget presentation. The only thing we may, if Chief Moore gets an answer on insurance, I may put him
The
in there.
towers.
You're gonna hear from Fire anyway, and Parks and Rec on their budgets. I didn't have anything more than that. I had manifest minutes, administrative support correspondence, and then set the agenda for 12/2. I could squeeze in the RFPs, so I don't care, provided you guys talk about it tomorrow night. I'll send Denise in, yeah.
And Beth was gonna give us an update on ARPA. The final update, I hope. And I'm not saying for 11:25, but also, we need to talk about voting machines sometime soon with the town clerk and the moderator. And timing-wise, I need to understand from Beth, we obligated the money last year for the machines. Does that mean we have to actually place a PO by the end of December? Yeah, can you ask her that?
Yeah.
Because if so, then we need to squeeze it in sometime in December.
When we have, you're talking to sit down with the town clerk and the moderator,
Yeah,
and we also discuss making those folders optional.
sure.
'Cause it gives everybody a problem at the
Yeah.
machines.
Yeah, well.
Did you want to, 12/2, can we put the RFPs? It's just because
Sure.
we got a holiday weekend, next week's
Yep.
short, so.
Yep.
So on 12/2, I can do the RFPs?
Yep.
I get minutes to finish.
Yeah.
I'll get it done.
What did we miss? Anything else? Can we get a list of, comprehensive list of open employment positions?
Didn't I give you that?
No, not that I know of.
There's one I gave you.
Yeah, it should be a small list, I think, by now.
There's 5 or 6 on there. No.
Well, she's looking for that. Anything else from you guys?
We did get an email regarding the election, thanking us for how well everything ran.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily call that out, but just kind of, I just, in my mind, lumped that up with the thank you I did at the beginning, but yeah, somebody did specifically send us in correspondence. They must have been there in the morning, because it was, the 3 of us that they thanked, so, sorry.
Did anyone,
Everybody knows that, or nobody knows that how much extra time you spend running the stuff all over. All over.
Farther away each time.
Yeah, so,
I don't see I found it, and I apologize, because I could have sworn I sent it to you.
okay.
did anyone respond back to, that request about the headstone kind and size?
The what?
Someone was asking about a size of a headstone. They wanted to put one in for their father or something.
Might just be you.
You know, could be spam, I don't know.
And you're off the hook
It
after
was a,
December 1st, too.
I was looking for that email, I couldn't find that one, David.
December 1st to April 1st is no tournaments. There's one this Saturday,
What do we need to do?
so
Okay,
it's all set.
thank you.
That was November 8th that you're looking for. I
I'll
can,
share with you I was impressed. A lot of people talk to me about how fast we moved after going, watching Channel 9 and how everybody was around for 3 hours in their own town. When we get up there, the way of coming out and asking for different lines was phenomenal. We were an hour from park the car to leave. I thought it was great. And
Yeah, a lot of
I got
people said it was only
feedback
15
about that,
minutes.
too, 'cause, there was a lot of people that spent 2 or 3 hours in line at another, because nobody came out and did what we did. And I say David, because he was always out looking for the different lines. And it really moved it along fast. And I think that goes to everybody that worked there.
I felt bad for the D through H every time I walk by, look for someone. D through H, I'm just looking for the end of the line. I felt so bad asking.
Yeah.
Everyone thought they were able to come in.
No, it was a very good compliment, you know what I mean?
Good.
Because we did one thing.
Well, we tried. I mean,
You guys did a good
you know,
job.
So, yeah, there was an email on 11/8 from Bilo 33. It was to the board members. Hi there, my name is John. I'm looking for information about what kind of size headstone I can put on my father's grave. He's got a phone number on there too.
Oh, we did like Bio 33.
Yeah, at first I thought it was,
Anyway, yes, okay.
okay.
All right, so, I can reply back.
Thank you.
I don't know, maybe I must have thought it was spam or something, because it's not here.
Yeah, no,
I thought it was spam at first, just by the, the heading. I was like, oh, I better delete that, and I opened
No,
it.
I guess, apologize. Okay. Anything else for next week's agenda? Going once, going twice? Okay. Ready to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion to adjourn at 10:58. Moved by Selectman Bloom. Anyone like to second that?
Second.
Selectman Drury seconded. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, motion passes 4-0-0. Thank you.